this design is going to be over here just on one side of the wreath. So what I want to do is start to kind of set up my perimeter. So a filler flower is a flower that has got a greenery with it, or it's a smaller texture. This one, it can be a berry or stuff like that, and that's what you see us using here. So I'm going to take this one and just tear it down. I've got 26 years of experience creating sunflower wreaths and selling them, and I try to just share that with my students. If you guys are interested in joining our design school class, all you need to do is just text us school to our text number 832-734-5201, and we'll get you on that wait list. Now, here is the main flower in this wreath, daisies. Loaded with gorgeous daisies. And just like mums in the fall, daisies are the hot item in the summer and spring. You can use them any time of year, but they are the bomb diggity. Now, anytime you get a floral bush, you do not have to use the greenery on it. So on this bush, I like to push this greenery down, and then we're going to come in and cut each of these pieces off. We're going to come in and I'm going to create little daisy clusters. And generally what I could do is do like a cluster of 3 or 4 together, and you want to manipulate them out. Give them a little motion. You left that long stem on there, and we're going to do this and make little clusters and go all around. I just trim that off and then just hold it together. We'll be able to put them all in together. Now the daisies, even though we want them off the base a little, we still want them fairly tight to it. Just like, oh my God, perfect. Just like that. I'm going to use that one at the bottom and pop in a little bit of moss. Moss on your mechanics, MM. Here, let's use 4 together. And you see how they're staggered at different heights? That's important. Stagger those dudes. They cannot be the same height. Okay, 5 clusters here at the bottom. Perfect. Now, we're going to transition and we're going to work this way towards the top. So let me get a couple more pieces cut. So right now you see me pushing down the leaves. Now you're going to have that beautiful bow right in here. So we're going to work above. Then what we're going to do in a second is we have got another filler flower that's going to go in, but I think we should put the bow in next. Just because, and then we'll look for our little holes to just double check anything. Look how pretty this girl is. Look at her. Need the video of how to make the bow? Just let us know in the comments and we'll shoot it to you. I'm going to go under here and attach it right to that section where we transition direction. We're going to tie that on tight right here. And we just don't want to put it very last because we want to make the bow feel like it's part of the design and not just popped on top on this look. We want to work it in. We're going to use this gypsum. It's a little bit darker yellow, which I think adds that nice touch. When you push it up before you cut it, take and rotate the stems. So you see me rotating them when I'm pushing them? Okay? So that is allowing me to get these beautiful little clusters like this. Yeah! So you get that cool looking berry all together. Alright? So instead of long and kind of rugged looking, you get a cute little bloom. You see me twisting and pushing? Be careful because you can shoot it right off there. I'm surprised I haven't done one because I usually, oh, that one almost did it. But you see what a big difference that is when I fluff up that piece? Now this is all monochromatic, one color design. So I think it's fun to just pick out a little bit different shades, okay? Now we want to use one piece right in tight to the bow. This always looks great tucked in. Oh God, that's so cute right there. I love that. Same thing on the bottom of the bow. Come on, what are you waiting for? I love to teach you just like this, step by step. You can slow down the videos. There's no, chit chat except for on our live videos on weekly where we're together. And it's just, I love to teach you how to do this easily and quickly so you can become a better designer. And you're even going to learn the principles behind each and every step of what we're doing. So you can hear Khalid, that's me, in your ear going, hey, shake hands. Are you too matchy-matchy? Is that balanced? Are you hitting a goal post? All the little things I say. And you guys, I try not to be teachery, but if you want to design like I do and have these type of looks, there's some principles that will help you get there. And see, this is looking great in here. It's coming in real good because it's a little bit lower than the daisy, but it's not as wispy and far out from the base as the greenery and the filler flower we put in. So that combo is nice, guys, nice. Okay, I'm gonna work down here at the bottom and push this one in, coming in a little bit right here. And I got one more piece to finish with. And I think I'm gonna pop it in right here. I love to put like a little surprise in there. So someone, if this is hanging on the door just like this, it would be just like this. Someone comes to your door, they can just see in that little pocket, kind of tucked behind the ribbon. And I just have little special moments with each piece that you can experience from different angles. That is something you want to have in your work. You want to make sure that I'm looking at all these angles. Gosh, this just turned out gorgeous. I'm gonna go grab my last couple of pieces of greenery, and I've got a little bit of filler flower. And what we always want to do is bring the background to the foreground in the design. Once again, more depth, more dimension means more money when you get to sell your work. And even if you don't sell it, you get a higher level of design in that. So what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing some of that fishtail and we're bringing it a little bit more to the foreground. So that means I'm going to pop it in right here close to the bow. Let's put one even overlapping that piece at the bottom of the bow. And you can always take and push these up, just like we did those other gypso bushes, to make little wispy clusters. And you just trim that right down. We're going to pop that right in here just to kind of overlap that. And we call that breaking the plane. I'm going to break the plane of that other floral so it gives this great dimension. We could use that right in here too. We're breaking up the yellow just a little bit where there's a nice piece of yellow really strong. We're going to break that up and layer it. So we're going to come behind the daisies, put that right above the filler flower. Make sure you're not going through the back. We don't want a bunch of wires coming out the back. We want to go into the grapevine. Perfect. Let's put one more piece of greenery right up here next to the bow this way. Kind of fill in that way. Sometimes I might hold the wire with my wire cutters and pull it to get it tight. We didn't pull it tight from the beginning because we weren't sure how many pieces we were going to use for this. But now we know. Now we know, okay? Now, I could use a little bit more of this also to help break the plane of the bow. And I love to do that. Like, don't let that bow just be on top. Make it feel like it's mixed in but not sucked in there, okay? Like it's just in a beautiful design with everything else. Oh, perfect. Right there. Awesome. We got two more little yellow pieces. And if I were you, I'd use those the same way to kind of help define the shape around the bow in here. Bring this one in. Put this one right here. Nice. And then let's put one more that way. Kind of going between the black and yellow. Right in here. And you've got those little accents put in. So simple and sweet. She's beautiful, she's lush, she's compact. That wreath kit comes with the wreath base itself, And it comes with one of the big monarch butterflies here. Then our ribbons have our great monarch butterfly and a couple of blacks. We've got a polka dot and a stripe. The kit, you'll get full rolls of those. We are just having a little bit of a big sunflower. Then we've got this bush right here with the yellow little wildflowers. That's perfect. These twigs are excellent, and they're going to give us lots of dimension. Got a couple of stems of those in the kit. And this is our greenery. It is like a nice green, and it's really loose, and it's got that leafy texture. And then we've got a small bush here that has some more butterflies on it too. This is an oval wreath base, so we want this guy to sit right in here. This comes with a built-in hanger right here on the back. It's one of those little triangle hangers, and that'll work good. We'll get that started. And I know we're going to go ahead and cable tie it into that side to the frame. I'm going to cut off the gold hanger on here. That's just a ribbon that they have attached, or that little cording. And we're going to tie this in. I like to get this just sitting in there really cozy. So that means I'm going to tie it into this part of the frame here. So even before I do that, let me set it down and let's get this guy right about here. I'm just setting it there for a second. I want to see if I can get this through the frame here and back around. There is metal around the back, and this is very stable. I'm not worried about it, but I want to try to bring both of these through right now, okay? So I'm just like if you're sewing, go in one side, bring it up the other. Okay, so both ends are coming out. Let me turn my glue pot down, man. It is cooking up here. I'm cooking this glue. All right, okay. Whew, it was getting hot. All right, I'm gonna bring it in right here. Okay, excellent. And now I'm gonna come around and I'm gonna go ahead and get this tight. I know that's where I want it to go. So we'll just keep bringing this through because you need it. It's got to be tight, okay? It's got to be tight on there. And I'm going to try to get that under the body in the background. Okay, happy with that. Yes, it's wiggling around. We are going to get that squared away, don't worry. Is we are going to have this there, that's fine. I'm happy, she's stable. Now I'm going to cut a piece of foam that's going to have florals on it that's going to sit right down here. And then I'll be staking that in, and that'll lock this kind of into place right here. So I've got that kind of idea going. Now I have to take my foam and cut it into some small pieces. I just want it sitting here just enough to hold this down. So I'm happy with that. Let's just take and drop that in our glue pot. Hold that where you want it. I'm getting some glue on here and scraping it off. I don't need a ton. So when I say some, see the little layer on there? Got a decent layer. Now I'm going to put this just overlapping slightly. Okay, perfect. Now your next step is to grab your floral pins and get this in place. Okay, so I'm going from here into the, I'm using like another way to support this into the, from the back of the wreath too. I'm going to put a couple here. And the only thing is you want to do this while that glue's hot, okay? So I'm going to get 3 in here. No problem. I'm going to bring her around. And then I'm going to come in through the back right now. So I'm just pushing that where that foam is flat against my wreath stand. I can come from behind and go right over the metal frame into the foam too. Boom. And one more each way. Okay. So that's going to help keep my butterfly right where I want it. And then my next move is to put my foam up here. And we're going to do that same procedure. Just get it, put the moss on it. I'm not the moss, the hot glue on it. Scrape it off. Go up here. Wiggle, wiggle. And now we're going to go in from the sides and then one from the front. Okay. At least, on something like this, you better put at least 5 pins. We just want to be safe and have lots of things holding. Now, because this is concave on the back, there's no worries that If a pin goes through, it's not going to be a big deal, but most of these pins are just going into the foam anyway. Okay. And now I'm going to take a couple from to the back. Same way we did before. I'm just going to lay this flat against here. We're just going to kind of angle them in. If they come through the front, it's no big deal, because you're going to have that all covered with florals. Just don't hurt yourself. Okay, lots of pins in there, and it looks fine on the background. Look, you can't even tell. It's perfect. Looks neat and clean. So if they end up having a glass door, we are good. So let's take our first twig bush, and it tears apart very easily into some nice sections here. As normal, I will generally not cut this one right away, because that's a piece that has an extended stem on these. These are already locked into their sizing, so I can't really make these longer without more work, adding picks and things like that. And I generally teach that we're going to try to plan ahead and be able to produce our product a little faster and not make all those extra cuts. So this looks fine. Pull off any extra paper, and we're going to start to set our perimeter. Let me turn my glue pot down. There we go. And this one's going to go out here over to the right. Okay, and you can see the shape coming up. Oh yeah, fantastic. So that one's going out that way, and the transition is going to happen right at the bow, where we'll go different directions and shift direction. So that's the first one. Here comes number 2. Make sure you do what we call shake hands. In class, we always say shake hands. You can take and curl these up prettier if you want, or you can leave them wide, whatever you prefer. I'm going to curl them a little and kind of shape them. Now I'm going to work opposite, and this one's going to come down, transitioning the other way. Okay, so it's just kind of nicely setting that perimeter. I love it. Oh yeah, great shape. And just think of this as you're setting your perimeter like we do in all of our designs. It's kind of our first step. Okay, I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to bring that down, and I don't know if you can see that. I think I'm going to have to move the camera down just a little bit. There you go. Look how cool that looks. Yes. Oh, already. Man, you see that green going with this green we're popping? I'm loving it. Now, I do want a little bit kind of coming in around the ribbon once it's in. So we'll be cutting this one down. So I'm just going to put that aside, or keep one of these aside is fine, whichever one you want. So I need one of those for there. I'm going to also put one more aside to go around the ribbon up here too. So I've got 2 pieces aside. And so I'll use this last piece to kind of frame up this area that goes in between these 2. So in this, we'll have a little bit going to the right and a little bit going to the left, kind of to the middle. So I won't curl these quite as much as I want them to take up a little more space. I'll just curl the tips. And you can see how that can bridge that gap. So that means I have to cut this short. I'm going to do that, because then I can control the size a little bit. I'm going to put this piece in first. I don't want it so long, okay? Because then it makes it chunky here. We want it to be kind of streamlined from here to here. And then this piece we'll put in right here. So I'll cut this down a little bit more, or I'll tear these off. I'm just going to tear them off and trim off their wires. And they have their own little piece we can put in. Okay, so we just set our perimeter all the way around. This one's going to go a little one to the right. That one went a little to the left. So you have 2 nice greenery bushes like this, and we're going to break these apart as well. So I'm just going to take and bend them, and I'll just tear this down. And this is our opportunity for that longer stem, so I'm going to put that aside. And then these right here, we're just going to pull off the extra paper. Throw that in the garbage, straighten these up. And then I'm just going to neatly trim these stems till they're about the same length. And we'll start to put these in. These have great wires. You just have to take the time to utilize them, right? And enjoy how wispy and pretty they are. They're very fern-like. So I'm going to take and load this in the glue pot. We're going to just work out to the perimeter, and we're just going in between our twigs on either side. Up here on the top section first. And don't forget, we're leaving that area open for the bow zone. I'm going to come here on the right side of the greenery. Excellent. And we can layer it a little under, a little over. Now I put one here. Now I'm going to go in between these two. So this one we might have to cut. We want to stay with our nice streamlined shape. So I'm cutting that one down. We're going to go right between those. So right kind of out the center. This one will go a little right and a little left. You can shape it. Get in there, buddy. Oh, that's just pretty together. Now let's go in here between these two. So we're just cutting in between each piece. And we're going to use a full bush up here at the top. And we're still setting the perimeter. Okay, we did it with the twigs. Now we're doing it with the greenery. And then this piece can kind of come from the bottom and kind of come into the middle. I love that. I trimmed it down and I just took about a ½ inch off. Now I'm going to put this into here, and this can kind of work through here. Okay. All right, so I used a whole bush up here. Down here, we're just going to use a couple of pieces, and we'll save all of this to work in around the bow, because a lot of this design is we want to have working around the bow. So let's put maybe 2 pieces down here. So I will save 4 for later, okay? 2 pieces here. Cut these shorter immediately because we want them to be just kind of tucking in around the greenery we already have in. So this piece is going in here and kind of flaring out. Let's put one lower. I'm going to use 3 pieces down here. This one I'm going to do a little bit longer. Right here on the right. Still going with the same structure. Let's put one on the left. So I have 2 here. Just one, I kind of tucked it, coming up just a little bit, and these are working their way down. Oh, somehow I got glue on the handle of the wire cutters and then grabbed it. It wasn't that hot, but I was like, where did that come from? So now we're going to take our sunflowers, and you are going to get rid of all the leaves. In this design, we really need to focus on the small elements that are part of that wildflower look. These leaves are nice though, so save them for something else. We're going to trim off all those little attachments so it doesn't look like anything's missing. All clean. And then you're going to take these, and we can trim these off the main stem, and we're going to use them individually, okay? So we're going to do that for both of our sunflowers. Cut this one off, and I'm going to cut these 2 off. All snipped up pretty. So what I want you to do is we're going to use 2 of these up here and 2 down here. That'll leave me 2 for here too. So I'll have 2 sunflowers for each section. Idea is we're going to be putting the bow in right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bow in so we can know exactly how far back these are going to go. Now on the bow, we ended up, I turned the glue pot up instead of lower. Oh Lord. Oh Lord! That's funny. I was trying to turn it down a little. I went the wrong way. We're going to take, and I want to make sure it's very loopy, of course, just like we planned. I want to bring those forward. I put a cable tie in the bag, but we really needed a floral pin because it's just going to go right into this foam. And I'm going to take, and I can either make one out of wire. In this case, I'm going into a thinner piece of foam we used up here, so it's no problem for me to use a floral pin that we buy at the store. So I'm just going to take and push that through. And kind of, I'm using the other, I left this cable tie in for a minute till I got it through, and then pull that out, okay? Make sure you're getting under the cable tie and not just the ribbon, just for extra security, okay? Now, I know that this is going to go up and down like this is what I liked, okay, where the bow is kind of like that. So I'm going to take this, hold it that way I like, all cupped up, get some glue on that pin, okay, and then I'll push it on there. Let's go. All right, put it in. Right in there. Okay. Now I want those bows to kind of, want the ribbons, of course they're going to lay out some, but I want them to go in kind of the center. We're going to let that set up before we fluff it too much. I'm going to leave it like that right now. So now that that's in, I know my sunflowers can kind of go in there somewhat a little tight to that. Now, if the sunflower sits like this, that does us no good. We need to make it move forward and kind of show us its pretty bloom. I like to take my hand and just kind of do like, I don't get too fancy with a steamer or anything, but just use that wire in there. And we're going to have this one cut a little bit longer, so I cut it off a little bit. And we're going to use 2 in here. So this one's going to come up and to the right. I'm putting it into the foam, kind of on the front of the foam so it comes forward. Excellent. We'll let that get set up right there. Okay, why are you moving on me? Oh, why it's rolling. There we go. Sit there and be good. You can always do that, like use another piece of greenery to hold it till the glue dries. Perfect. This one's going to be shorter and a little tighter. It's a smaller bloom, but I'm going to open up just a little. I cut that to about 4 inches, 5 inches. We're going to bring that one right here. That one's better. Just go in there and just stay. What is your problem? There you go. So kind of tight to the bow a little. Now, let's come on this side. We're going to work opposite. So I'm going to use a big bloom and a bud this time. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to have a medium. No, you know what? I'm going to use a medium and a bud up here. And I'm going to save a big bloom and a bud for the bottom. Change in plans. So work opposite with the big one, with the next biggest one we have, which is this one. Okay. So that means if I'm going to go opposite, I'm down here below the transition, so it needs to come out this way. I'm just going to have it pop and look up. And this one goes a little bit farther out. Not too far, just a little bit. There you go. Just kind of popping out that bow. Nice. And this one will work opposite here. Kind of coming out to the side, so I'm going to trim that down. See, not so hard. Those sunflowers are in. I like it. And so they're opposite each other. So now our bow at the bottom. Down here, we're going to take and have it go. Trying to get you where you're right there. Yeah. Excellent. Let me grab the other bow. So do your trick where you pull all your ribbon back. Grab a dowel that you have in your glue. Bamboo works great for that, or just anything that's is strong to help you move the glue, but it's safe and it's not going to cause a fire. So be careful with regular wood. I always have my glue pot off though when we're not creating. It doesn't sit here for hours on. Okay, we're going to push this in. I love that. And so we're going to work these tails kind of in with that greenery. Let's see if you can see that. Yep, you can. And then we'll have more florals coming in there. We got to get our main sunflower in the bottom. We don't have a lot of flowers going in these, but I thought these were fun to kind of tuck in around our bow. So in here, let's just use 2. We've got all of this greenery coming down, which is kind of going to be the major point of the greenery. But let's just tuck 2 sunflowers right in to the bow. So I'm trimming these down still about 5 or 6 inches because I've got to get out. I got 7 inches of loop there, right? I've got to work my way out. So once you figure out how long it needs to be, you can trim it back. And I've got about 2 inches of foam behind that, so play with it a little bit. Keep seeing, okay, how much do I need here? There's that one. It's just kind of poking out, coming with the loops. All right, and I'm just going to keep this one right with it, and we're going to go right beside it here. So these sunflowers are just going to be on this side. Okay, now that that's done, now these will be gluing in, getting set up, and then we'll be ready to add all our wildflowers and then our other smaller butterflies, and then our greenery. A yellow filler, and I'm going to just tear this off of this bush. When you do the bottom part, the stems are white, which is fine because most of these we trim that short anyway. So we're gonna use this part on the top and this part probably on the bottom. So I'm gonna start with this half, and we will trim these down to where the white starts. And we want to make sure we leave those clustered. All right, we're going to start with these first. Start us off. Right in here, I'm going to do one piece out between, immediately between, so I get yellow out to make a triangle. Same thing out here. A little bit longer to where this is coming out in between my yellow flowers. See how pretty that is? Perfect. Now we're going to go tighter with my other pieces. And make sure with these you straighten them first. You don't want them kind of fighting your direction. We got our bow in there in the bow zone, and now we're just tucking these right in. We're staying with our pattern of the triangle. So we're just going to go one long, one short. So one short right here. Yeah, that looks good. Love that. I think it's spread those out a little bit. I feel like this is just the greatest whimsical wildflower look when you can do that. And let's rock and roll out the top now. Just out at the top, coming right between your layers of ribbon. So tighter to the bow and the greenery behind. Kind of working forward a little bit. Now we're working that loopy bow. Yep. And then one more right here. And use them to kind of hold those layers sitting up, right? It creates more dimension in the bow is what we're doing by putting these pieces in there. I call that breaking the plane of that material and kind of working for it. Oh yes, I love that. I love that. I get excited. Great. So we've achieved a really good amount of wispiness up here at the top. Oh, it looks good. Now let's come to the bottom. So I'm going to move this up, and that's when we start to see that wildflower look. All right, it's going to set you apart and be different. Yellow in the bottom. So now grab all your yellow you have left. I think I have 3 pieces. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add one piece right here to complete my triangle, and then we'll use the rest in around the bow. We really want to make sure we are, this one I can cut into a couple of pieces because it's a thick one. Here's my one piece coming between these two. Shaping that out. We have this little bit of a trail coming into our tails right here. Okay, I love that. Now let's work in between them. All right, come on up. Yeah. Push it in. Very nice. Let's go down below. Right in here. We're just working in between the layers of the bow. You want to hear that crunch every time you go into that foam. Really important. Let's have one more coming up. I think I'm going to step back and just check. I think we're going to need just, I like the idea that there's just 3. That looks good. I'm just going to make it a little fatter here at the top, okay? And that gets all of our yellow in, which looks really good. I love it. And we're kind of breaking plane of that monarch, and that looks good. Let's hold our twigs off for just a second. I'm going to do a little of this and a little of this at the same time. So to prep this bush, it's got these cute little butterflies in there too, which I think are going to be fun to kind of have going around. They're simple, nothing too crazy, just like a nice little simple touch. So this piece just tears off into nice little sections. And when we do that, we get 1, 2, 3 butterflies, 4 sections. So ideally we'll use 2 butterflies up there, 1 down here, okay? And I'm going to start with working on this bottom section. And I think it's going to be cute to have like a shorter piece. Here's one that's got like the butterflies down a little bit. Take each one of these and shape them up, right? Make them move for you. Be the boss of them. Shake hands. Trim this top piece off because we don't need these super long. And I'm going to have this kind of coming right out of the top of the bow. Cleaned it up a little, and now I'm working on it coming right out of here. Okay, yeah. Perfect. How about that? That looks great. And that little butterfly is coming out of here. That's so cute with the yellow. I love it because we've got a touch of both colors in there. Now, I'm going to take the other part of that piece of greenery and we're going to work it just right in, right where we have our yellow already. I'm going to pull up my layers. Make sure you're getting that into the foam. You got good glue on it and just work it between your layers of the bow. It has a cute little bloom on it. And this piece is the other piece, and I'm going to just separate it a little bit. It's a little too long the way it comes. So I just separate that into two separate little pieces. And we're going to use one more on this side of the bow. So you just move over a piece of your bow, stick that into the foam here at crunch. We're going to work that through the loops. Okay, fantastic. Now, I'm going to just stop and we're going to finish the bottom right now all together while we're in the zone together. Let's do that first, okay? Because we're doing really good. Now, grab your green. You have a little bit of green left. I'm going to use, let's start with one piece here. You see, I can divide this into two very easily, where I can take this make one and that make one. So we're doing detail work here, so we're slowing it down and we are taking our time and really making this bow pop by separation of the layers and then putting our greenery right between it. Okay, and then that looks so good and it kind of comes forward. There you go. Okay, there's one there. Now let's go between these two. Another little piece. So we just take a big piece and we break it down. All right, and you have to be patient and you have to bend the wires a little bit because you can't get into the center of the bow. You have to kind of come from the outside in. That's good. And one more right here. So every time you do them, you're kind of doing them in a triangle. And I'm going to cut off this top part. Okay, so here I'm just going to make my own little pick, twist that around, and then we can glue those in together, okay? These have such good wires. You don't need anything special to put that in. We don't need a pick machine. Just twist it, and we're going into foam. It's very easy. Glue, tuck it in, wiggle it around. All right, good. We're killing it. We got our extra little butterfly. We've got our tails. We went in good around all of our loops. We will play with our tails a little if we want to. We'll like have them curly. Before you take your pictures or before you stage it, you can decide how much you want of that. All right. Now we have enough to use a little bit of twig here at the bottom. I think we'll use a lot of this at the top, but I'll use this one little piece here at the bottom. And let's just have it we have this twig behind. Let's just kind of have it kind of come from below on the right. Okay, and I just cut that from one of the twigs. I took the foliage off and put it with it. We're gonna go right underneath. Okay, that's pushed in, and now I want you to work that just a little bit forward. Bend it a little bit forward. Good. Okay. Doesn't that look great? Okay, there's our bottom. We crushed it on the bottom. Now we're going to take that same time and we're going to go work on the top. We are going to start with our butterflies first, and we have two butterflies actually, 3 pieces, excuse me, of this left, okay? So we're going to break that up into smaller pieces again. Actually, on this one, you're going to have to probably use them pretty close to full because we're trying to get out a little bit more between those loops, not a lot. So I'm going to cut this one here. Kind of do the same thing, but just double check before you get too far. So this one's only going to have leaves. So I'm going to kind of use this one in between here. We got a sunflower sitting here, but I'd like some more dainty stuff kind of up between that. So I'm going to put the leaves here, kind of coming down. Now take some of those pretty flowers. Here's the other piece that has a little butterfly. And we'll put that right in here. And be careful, you're not getting the glue all over your bow. It happens, but try not to. If that happens, just let it dry, then pull it off. Don't mess with it while it's really wet, or sometimes you'll make it worse. Perfect. Now let's work opposite that with the other butterfly. And we'll cut it a similar way. So I need to kind of have that. Let's cut it here and here. You'll have a couple of little clusters. I'll start with my longer cluster first. We'll work in opposite. Which works good. We're going right up in here into the twigs and the wildflowers. And so I'm going to go beside this because we don't have that much right here. And remember, if there's not a spot, you're like, Clee, my foam is all covered right there. Just move it a little and then bend the wire, okay? Put it in the foam where you have the spot and bend it. It's behind that bow. No one's going to see it. Nobody's going to know. Here comes this one. This one has the other butterfly. Yay. And they're working opposite. Fantastic. Okay, now our wispy greenery. Oh, we have one more yellow. Okay, so I'm going to go make that a triangle. Then the wispy greenery. Then the twigs. Okay, go between your tails down here. I want to pull this up. Use the florals to help hold the stuff up. Layers up. Yep, that works good. Now wispy. And once again, we'll trim this to make it two of them about the same size right here. Okay. And we're just going to start to put this between the layers too. I like the more dainty pieces of greenery closer to the center. I think they look delicate. You can kind of see from them onto the ribbon. Yeah, looks good. Do you see the detail we're doing in a wildflower? We are leading with the wispy. Like, we picked out a greenery that's very wispy on purpose to really have that lacy look. You can do this for all kind of seasons. It's just really fun for spring as well, but it's awesome in the fall. Anytime you can have that, it gives that very lacy look, okay? Let's put in just a little bit more around here. Just continue to work that pretty look. And then we're going to put our twigs in and finish this beauty up. I can't wait to show you her up close. You're going to love her. Like you will not believe. Let's go right in here again. I'm going to go tight to that bow. So I'm kind of just working really tight in here so that these can overlap. Come through those loops. I'm going to bring a striped loop a little bit more forward. There you go. And here. Okay, you ready for the last touches? Let's pan back out. Show you how beautiful. That's just beautiful. And it has that finished wildflower look. It's popping off the base. It's popping. So these, I'm separating them into smaller pieces. And then I have one more of these cool twigs. And we're going to use that just to kind of come out and be funky a little bit more in the foreground. So I'm going to leave this pretty long. And we're going to let this come forward. Right out of this part of the bow. Right here, yep. That looks good. It's just so funky. And that moss on there, woo, it's good stuff. Okay, now these we're going to use independently, more detail pieces. So these ivy type pieces, I want to use those places where they can kind of crawl out. So I'm twisting to make my own little pick. Right here is a great spot for one. It can crawl right out of the layers. Now I want to use one more right here at the bottom. Make sure you hear the crunch. And then the curl, like a really cool curl like this, utilize that forward. Definitely have that coming forward. That's going to look so good coming out of the bow. Let it come on out. Get it into that foam. Let that kind of come out of here. So the detail work takes a little time, but it always is going to show up really good on some up close pictures, and that's where you can put that on your listing if you're selling. And if you're making it for you, it's going to be your favorite part when you take a look at what you've made. I promise you, you're going to go, I love that part, because I love those curly things. Y'all, I don't know where you look me up in the dictionary why I get so excited about this stuff, but I love it. They are happy, curly, mossy. It's just like a little fairy garden in here, and this big butterfly came in here, and he landed, and now everybody's having a party around him. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to go hide this little piece right here. We've done a really good job now of camoing all the foam up here. It's good. I'm not worried about it. I've got my bow all propped up. And so, let me show you. Okay, you ready? I'm going to give you a full-on picture. Y'all, this is so good. Wait till you see the finished pictures. I cannot wait to see how you make your version, but I love it. This is a 14-inch smaller wreath base. I told you we're going to come way off the base. I'm really excited about that. That'll be our base. Now we're coming into that, and we're going to start off with this one bush. And the nice thing, this is set up with 9 heads, so it's just perfect to make a wreath out, this type of piece. You can even make a piece and a piece and a half with it if you wanted to go smaller, but we're going to go big off a small base. All right, so I picked that as my main flower. Now my greeneries, I'm going to use this as a greenery and a filler. This is a lavender bush. It's got a lavender bloom and a nice little green leaf. It's a little frosted. So for a secondary greenery to go with that, I'm popping in a fishtail to go with that. And I've got 2 of these, and 1 of these. It's going to make a large wreath. You could cut that back to 1 and 1 and just use 2 of these heads if you wanted to make a smaller wreath. Still the same wreath base. And let me show you the ribbons. Classic color design here is going to be the yellow with the black and the yellow with the black sunflowers. All right, we're going to mix both of these. I'm going to start with 1 bush of the fishtail in the background to kind of set the perimeter, and then I'll put the lavender next. I'm not going to cut this down at all. We're just going to leave it long. And you guys do stock up on our Spanish moss. It's back in stock because it's the perfect color to go from spring to fall. It's the light green, so it transitions very nicely. So I just trimmed that all long, and we're going to start to put this in. So I'll start with my first piece up here, and this is going to be our C shape, which is the most popular shape I make. So we're going to start with it going. And let's work down from there. We're going to go with triangle placement, so that one's high, and these will be a little bit lower. And I'm bringing a little roll of Spanish moss in here to kind of hold this in place and cover my glue, okay? 2 purposes there. Here's a longer piece. I'm going to have that kind of shoot up the back, and it's going to be shorter than those. So I'm going to trim it just a little bit. We're going to come right down into here. Okay, and now I'm going to come below the transition, and we're going to do the same thing below. I'll start with my long one, and we're going to really let that come down. Make sure that's in the video, guys. Well, it had a couple of comments, and then it has none now. It's so funny. I don't know what it's doing. All right, and then I'm going to come out here. So I've just kind of repeated exactly what we had up here, down here. Now I'm going to take our other greenery, which is also a filler flower. So this kind of bush is great because it does double duty. So I'm going to take this. We're going to push these up just a little, okay? Just kind of to where they are all about the same height. And then I want you to cut them long still because we're working the perimeter. So cut them long. I stocked my glue in my glue pot, so my glue pot's so happy. You know, when the glue is so nice and fresh. It's a happy moment. So I'm going to put that in there, and let's go between these two. I'm just putting one right now. We're going to be doubling up on it, but I'm getting it started. And I still kind of want the greenery to be longer than the lavender. We're going to get that put in. We're working on the background right now. Now let's come down to the bottom, and we're going to go between each one here too. All right, in between these two. And remember, we're always going into the wreath, but not through to the back. So we're trying to sit it, the wires to sit inside when we push them in. Excellent. Let's put a couple in the middle. And we're going to layer that piece in right here. So we're working to the perimeter right now. Let's come right in here. Get a little moss on it. And I'm trying to get that moss just in that small area because I've still got a lot of pieces to put in here. I don't want to cover it up. Now let's work some on the outside. And this one will go to the outside. So this is kind of the outside area. And we don't want to flare it way out. We want to kind of get these shorter in here. That's about the length I did up there. So I'll rotate this one down and come below. Remember, where we decided to put our bow, which is going to be a little bit lower when we get done. I moved it up from the 6 o'clock. I moved it up a little higher. It's at about, what is that? 9 o'clock. Oh, was that? Oh, I went the wrong way earlier when I said 5 o'clock. 7 o'clock. So I moved it up to 9. Sorry, I went the wrong way in my brain. That happens a lot to me. I hope that doesn't happen to you too much. Oh my gosh. What are we going to do? Okay, and then I think I'd like one more piece just kind of closing in our C shape out there on the edge. We're working with wildflowers and how that all feels and looks. Always one of my best selling wreath designs of the whole year. And you can make these for different seasons with different supplies for sure. But it was all inspired by the Texas wildflowers that we have here and the big wildflower season that's going on right now. In March, April is the big time for all the rains and the flowers on the side of the road. Before we go any further, now it's time to get our sunflowers in because they're the biggest part of this whole design. And I'm going to try to use them keeping a stem together at a time, and we'll see if that will work. Okay, so I'm going to trim off down right above that bottom leaf. They have a thicker stem, so just kind of eat at it a little bit. Nip away. I'm going to go below the bottom leaf on this one, see if it cuts easier. It cuts a little bit easier right there. So I cut all 3 of those off. The only thing you're going to need to do is really shake hands with it. And like if a head is wiggling off, glue it back on or push it on and make sure it's not going to come off for your customer, okay? Now I'm going to get rid of the sunflower leaves because they're big and they're not what I want, so I'm trimming them off. They're very pretty, so save them for something else, but I want that stem to be completely clean. And this piece right here is going to look great, just kind of shooting up from the transition of where the bow is going. Okay. We'll put this first piece in right here. Not too high. We're going to have another one higher. Just right behind where the bow is going to be. Perfect. You can see the triangle placement working really good now, can't you? 1, 2, 3. And the nice thing, I was able to keep the length on that piece by keeping it all together. I'm going to curve up my moss. We're going to put it right in there. And then my second piece is going to kind of work more of the angle over. It'll also help us add some weight to that side. This wreath doesn't have a hanger on it yet. Once we get a hanger on it, it will help. So I'm going to trim off the leaves. I'm trying to trim them as neat as I can so you don't notice that they're missing. So There's our bow going to be there. It's kind of sitting up. This will move a little bit more this way. So the second piece is going to work above the bow. So I've got to make sure that it's reaching out to the right to fix that C shape, right? So we're going to do that right now. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm going to put that right into the top. Give that a swirl. And let's go right in here. Beautiful right there. Make sure you push it in enough where it's going to stay where you want it. And let it set up a little, then we can manipulate the leaves, I'm sorry, the blooms a little bit more. And now I'm going to push this in. So pretty. So I'm going to trim this off. Get all those leaves off again. And then this is going to shoot right in to where the bow is coming out from. I just gave it a little bend up. Watch your glue. Careful. We don't want to come out the back, so I'm going into the wreath. When I'm putting a big stem in, I'm holding the wreath with one hand and pushing it in to provide some resistance, okay? Get these heads poking up a little bit. We've got beautiful, nice heads. We want them to look up. Okay, hold the bow off for just a few minutes. We're going to continue to fill this up now really full, and then we'll put the bow in. Looking really pretty. These have such good movement. Now I'm going to take these and just push them up a little, but we're still going to cut them long. And I want you to hold off 4 pieces for the bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put those aside. These pieces right here, we're going to work out to the perimeter. And wherever you had another piece of greenery at the top, I want you to put this one in just a little bit shorter. Right there. Beautiful. And this one here will go into the right a little bit shorter. Just kind of beefing up where we had them before. This one can work right in here to the left. And now I'm coming in a little bit in between the sunflowers to where they're like the greenery's coming in between him. We're going to fill in a little bit. And I'm going to use this one up there. I'm not going to do too much down here at the bottom yet because that's where the bow is going to go in. I'm going to come in here and come forward. Look at that. So far, so good. All right, now grab the lavender and we're going to put a little lavender in and then we'll pop the bow in. So just like we put this greenery coming forward, we're going to use this lavender coming through between the blooms. So we're not going to push it up a lot. And I'm still going to cut it long because I need some length on here when I sell my finished pieces. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to work these coming in between the flowers. So one here, and we're going to use like a zigzag technique. So one there, I'm going to put one a little bit lower. And I want to make sure these come up between these flowers. They don't need to dominate and cover up the flowers. Like I'm not trying to really overlap it a lot, but just come between. Now one above. And now let's go inside here. So now we really feel like we're in that garden of wildflowers. Just beautiful. This is going to look killer on your door, your garden gate. It's going to look beautiful. Okay, let's have some come in between these guys now over here. We've got 2 blooms here, so let's put one in there. I'll come up here. Beautiful. Okay, now let's work on the bottom. Same concept. I'm kind of avoiding this area right now. I'm working between the blooms. Oh, almost shoved it right in my sunflower. Let's put the next one. I'm going to layer the next one on top. You do want to save 4 to go in between the layers of the bow. So make sure you're saving a little bit to work between the areas of the bow. Okay, I'm going to step back and look. I think it looks good right now. We'll fill in a little bit more when we get the bow in, but let's do that now. Here's a close-up of it, guys. Get a good close-up. Look, it looks so pretty. Look at that. Yeah. That movement is key in the wildflower wispy design. really having so much fun with that. I'm excited. I mean, we use that technique a lot as well, but we're going to really hone in on that really wispy feeling. So I've got my bow in, and now I'm going to fix the tails and bring these down. Bring them down, bring them down, bring them down. Okay, and spread them out. Just like that. And now they're working in our wreath. I'm going to pop those out. So I'm going to step back first, and I want to help bring this line down a little bit more down here where we have this greenery. And let's put a little lavender beside it. So take a step back from your piece and see if you have holes where you need a little bit of, squint your eyes, stand back, and see if there's like a hole on the perimeter. And there was one right here. Okay. Now I'm going to go shorter, coming out of the center. We're still working with the lavender. We're going to bring the greenery in at the end to break it up a little bit. Let's go right in here. Try to push these into the grapevine without going through the back, guys. Try. Let's go on the outside. Beautiful. And let me put some moss in there. That will hide any of the mechanics. Now let me step back. Oh my gosh, that looks so pretty. That looks so pretty. I'm going to pull the bow a little bit to the center here because I kind of like it coming to the middle. All right, let's tuck some in right around the bow now. So as I'm putting these other pieces in, I'm following those same rules because it creates the flow and the direction of the piece. You got to stick with that, okay? We can't fight those things or our wreath doesn't look professional and clean, okay? Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let me look. I'm going to put one more lavender behind this tail here. I got just a little bit of an opening there. And I'm going to go straight into the grapevine. All right. Yeah, and see how having that come down a little bit, that kind of fills in the outside shape we've got working. I'm going to curl this dude up, let him kind of curl out of there because he's so cute. So I'm going to go behind. All right. Let's go in the center. Now I'm going to put my greenery in here. Definitely are having fun. I am. I'm gonna go right in the middle here. Okay, and I'm gonna bring that up. Lots of movement. Okay, let's put one more piece of lavender right in the center. So when something goes in the center of where the directions change, you can just put it kind of straight out. That's fine. Cut it short though, so it kind of tucks behind and it's not looking rogue back there. So I'm going to put it in just right at the transition, or you can put it in like, I'm going to put it in going up, but then I'll bend it a little to go right here. So it went that way and then I bent it. I love using this lavender like a greenery. It is gorgeous. And one other piece right behind this sunflower here coming out to the side. So keep it short, like a little filler. And spend a little time on the bow zone because it's really effective when you break the plane of the ribbon and you bring some of those florals through the layers. That's what we're doing here at the last step, okay? So I make it into a cluster. I still leave the stem a little long, like about 3 inches so I can get behind the bow. But we can let that greenery come out of the layers like I'm going to do right here between these two layers. So I'm pushing it into the grapevine. Okay, and then I'm going to bend it down and we'll pull it through. Look at that. Isn't that great? I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, that looks so pretty. Last piece, y'all. Let's check for holes. Okay, one right here. A little bit of this greenery coming to right in there will be perfect. So I know it doesn't need to be too short, but it needs to be able to tuck into there. So I'm going to cut that down to about 3 inches. And y'all, we all knock this out. So can you believe this is just 3 different supplies? 2 ribbons. You can get lots more bows. It's a very simple bow. But when we really work on that wildflower technique and make it super wispy, how beautiful it turned out. And that turned out beautiful. Blue Merinos, in this video, we are going to be working with this beautiful butterfly. It's part of the kit we're making. This particular project, the kit does not come with the wreath base because we are using a big one. You can always downsize it if you want to, but we are going to use a 24-inch grapevine in here. So really big. This is going to be our big showstopper. Excited about that. And here is our butterfly. So we're going to pull our colors from this. The only thing we're not going to do a whole lot with is the gold because we want this to be kind of just have that rustic, elegant touch. So we're going to pull out the blues, a little bit of a purpley pink, and then the nice bright pink that's in there, okay? So our greenery, you're going to need 4 bushes of the fishtail because this is going to set our really great perimeter and give us that nice wildflower texture, which we're going for. This time we're also going to give the wildflower texture with a couple of bushes of twigs. So those really pull in the brown background. We're going to make that cohesive and pull that together, which looks really good in contrast to the touch of the elegance and the gold on our butterfly. Then we are going to bring in some beautifully beautiful pink hydrangeas. Beautiful. And this is a mini rose, which we're going to mix into. It has a little bit of a kind of a rustic, this is like a baby's breath that pulls in that creamy color. And then to hone in a little bit more of the wildflower, we're going to use a lavender because there's just a touch of lavender on the tips of those parts of the butterfly and a pink wildflower. The ribbons that we're going to go into here, we're using the pink and the pretty blue teal. And those 2 are going to go in there to make a beautiful bow. First thing we're going to do is attach our butterfly. For our design, I'm going to put the butterfly kind of up here, kind of resting into the wreath slightly where there's not too much room between here. And in order to put her in, I'm just going to use some cable ties and go in down here where I can camouflage it easily. I'm kind of running it through the grapevine back through where it doesn't really show in the back too much. Let me just hold this with 2 hands. Let's bring her back up. All right, and let's get that tight in there. All right, and let's go back on the right side over here. And I'm going to put her in maybe about right there. Okay, so there's plenty of room for floor over here because I want that to really pop over. So the 2 of these should be adequate. We're able to attach them to the frame really tight. And then you just want to do that little test. Okay, she's good. She's not flopping. She's not going to hit the door underneath. Then I'm going to trim these off. And the first thing I'm going to do is cover those with some Spanish moss. So they're camouflaged. I got a little Spanish moss here. And let's do that now. A little bit of glue on that. And that way that'll just hide into the background. Okay, and just like that, our first layer in the background is ready. So now you're going to want to grab one of your twig bushes and 2 of your fishtail ferns, okay? And we're going to prep these both first. With the twig bushes, if you'll just untwist them, they're going to come out into 3 different stems. All right, and to prep these, what I do is I just take and tear these off. Now, this is actually really good wire. I like to save those for hangers on wreaths. So it may not be quite big enough for our wreath today. It might work fine, but I like to save those. They're they're good wires. Now, when you get done with these, you're going to line these up so they're about the same length, and I want you to trim all of those off. Okay, and you get a nice clean finish. That's what you need to be able to put that in the wreath. So you're going to prep one bush of these, which is basically 3 stems. We're going to use that in the background, okay? So we're going to prep one of those. And then we're going to prep 2 fishtail ferns to where we push them up just a little. We're still going to leave them long because this is a big piece. We need to extend the lines with this. So I'm going to cut these as long as they'll go so that they're pushed up a little, but they still have about a 2-inch stem. Trimming that off. And now these are ready to go. So what we're going to do is start with our greenery. Now our bow is going to sit kind of right down here in this zone right here. So, but you know that's going to be your transition. So if I start away from me, I'm going to start with 1 high, 1 low. So I'm going to take one, and we're going to make these little clusters where 1's high is 1 low, and I'm going to trim that. Over here to the right, now I'm going with the direction, and basically this is going to be kind of a C and an upward direction here. Okay? Now I'm going to use triangle placement as I work my way down, so my next piece will come, it's basically zigzagging. My next piece will come in here and go out this way. Okay, and we're setting that whole background perimeter. So a tall and a short. Trim them down. Once they're trimmed, then you're going to hold it like a pencil. Get a good amount of glue, and this one's going to go zigzag to the inside. Right here. That's fine. Have a little cavern in the wreath there. See how it's breaking the plane of the butterfly? I love that. I want to do that. We don't want anything to be flat. We want it to be really just tucked in there. Okay. Now we'll come to the outside. 1 high, 1 low. A tall and a short. Let's go on that outside. Still following the same direction. And I'm kind of putting these in kind of the midline, a little bit outside of it, just a little bit. When I'm talking the midline, that's this section of the wreath. So I'm not way outside, I'm not way inside. All right. Let's put one more. We're coming back to the inside. It's a little tall and short here. There you go. I'm going to bend that one a little bit to get it to kind of C shape. And then we'll put one more on the outside over here. Remember, we're going to have more going on this right side than the left. There'll be less on the left. Okay, 1 tall, 1 short. Hold it like a pencil. I'm swirling it in my glue, and then we're zigzagging, so I'm still coming down here. This is a more of an open cavern here, so I'm going to go down a little bit lower. There we go. I'm going to use more moss. Anytime I'm going into like a little bit more open place, use that moss to help grab the glue and make it a sandwich in there. Okay, great. This is just the start of the background greenery, just kind of setting the perimeter. Now let's come in the inside here on this side. We're leaving about a 5-inch bow zone, so we're going to change direction. I'm going to start up here on this side first, and I really don't plan to have florals behind here. We're going to let the brown show. We might put some twigs back there, but I'm going to go a long and a short. The short goes to the outside, okay? And let me just stand a little bit more in front for just a second here. I'm going to go to the outside. Perfect. Hit that with my Spanish moss. So the next one can kind of come to the inside. Gotta make it a little bit shorter. We want to kind of mirror this piece here. So give it a bend. Give it a bend, and that can just maybe tuck in right there. And remember, you're going to be standing in front of your piece. I'm off to the side so you can see what I'm doing. But don't make it hard. You don't need to do that. You stand right in front and look at what you're building while you're doing it. Fantastic. I got a cool twig there. It's not really going the way I want it to go, but I'm going to bend it and take it out. So those kind of match up here. Beautiful. Let's have one more piece going down. I'm going to break into another bush of my fishtail. Push these up a little bit, but still cut them long. And I'm going to go right between these to kind of finish up my zigzagging. Basically, zigzagging is triangle placement. Whichever way you're thinking that helps you wrap your mind around it is fine. Go right in here. That smaller piece needs to go to the outside, if possible. And remember, we're going into the grapevine. We're not shooting through the back. Just using some Spanish moss to secure it in. Okay, and let's just put a couple of pieces in the bow zone that are individual. Just to kind of get that area shored up a little bit. So I'm going to put one in here. And I'm just wiggling it through the grapevine, lots of glue. And then how about one just kind of coming up right here. That's fine as well. So it's a bigger surface, more perimeter to set, to put in. But I think we've done a great job. Okay, these are our background twigs that we already prepped. So these we want to lay kind of flat in the background. They're not going to come forward. They're just going to be all setting the background perimeter. So I'm going to take one, and we're just going to put one basically right behind where we put greenery. And these have like a little C shape. So we want to make sure we're using the C shape kind of coming forward. And I'm not really going over the butterfly at this point. I'm going in the background. Go right behind the greeneries, and then you really won't have to use much more Spanish moss, and it should be kind of tight in that area because you got some other stems. There goes two of those. So on here, remember the transition is at the bow, which is going to be right in here. So we're just putting each of these right behind the greenery. Let's tuck it right behind where we went in before. Right, and let's have this one move upward. They are wired kind of at the base, so you can wiggle them all around. So all these C's are facing in. Facing in. We're going to try to stay consistent with that. There you go. Okay, so now we're going to go to the other side. Other side means they're all going to face this way. So instead of being this way, they're all going to go this way now. Okay, I'm going to start at the top. And we're going behind those greeneries, not in front right now. We'll be having some in front when we get to that point, but right now we're working behind. Why don't you let me in that little crack right there? Because I know you're going to stay good there if you do. There you go. Okay, there's one. Let's go behind these. Even that outside one, so still has to kind of come in. The twig comes in, goes behind there, just goes right between those others, cups in. Now right here. That way we've got lots of this in the back and a background layer. And then we'll have it also in the front when we do the front. And this is part of achieving that wildflower effect. And this time not with greenery or with floral, but actually with the twig. Keep going. And we've got this one down here, and here is where we're kind of at a transition. So I can have this one kind of scooped back that way, that's fine. I already put one there going the other way. Let's put this one here going this way. And wiggle it all around. That's great. So we got a good background twigs rocking. Let's put a couple more at the top that kind of go right behind their wings and just scoop around, okay? They're very tip parts. Okay. That's fine right there. A little glue string, and this one right here will come that way. So it's almost like we added a different layer of texture to the background, which I think is a lot of fun. Okay, and this one this way. And they have those wires, so we can kick them back or forward, whatever we want to do. Okay, that did take the whole bush, so the twigs are in. Yay! All right, the flowers are next. Pink hydrangeas, we're going to be using those. We'll be using 2 over there and 1 over here. Remember, we have more florals on the right than the left. And with these, I don't keep the leaves, just going to pull off the leaves, and you can save those for any type of coverage you need to do on another piece. And then I'm going to cut these down to 6-inch stems on here. And then you've got them each about this long. We don't need them much longer for what we're doing, okay? So I'm going to take my first piece, and it's going to go right in the middle of this zone right here. I'm going to be gluing these in on the first go, but you can always push stuff in and then come back to glue it. But if I were you, I would take it 1 layer at a time. I wouldn't put the whole wreath together. Then you have a lot to redo. Okay, I'm going to put that in. I did bend the head forward just a little. And now I'm coming in to cover my glue with the moss. So it is kicking forward a slight bit, okay? So we got a good dimension. Now my second one is going to come in, and let's have it move out a little bit, just a little. Let's see, let's take this one. And we'll kick it out to the right a little. So these stems are about 6 inches long, so you got to come, if you want the head to be here, you got to put it below that, right? So I'm lower than that, pushing it in. You want to feel it go into that vine. And then I'm going to take and put my Spanish moss on it. And set that one right in there. Yeah, pretty. This one up. Okay, and then my third one is going to go on the right. So we'll have a triangle, but it will work across the design. Okay? So let's put this one down here. And remember, we've got a little bit of a stem because we want to have that dimension. So I'm going to push it down a little bit deeper than it needs to be so I can bend and move it, and we can have some movement to it. Okay, let me cover up all this. These are so pretty because I have a little bit of the green and the pink. Whoa, that's so pretty. Okay, those are in. 2 on that side, 1 on this side. All right, we got that part. All right, we're going to be ready for fillers next. So we're going to grab our pink fillers first. And these we're using the mini rose bush. And what we're going to do with these, they come in clusters of 3 like this, and they're about this long. So what you're going to want to do is just trim off the last little piece on there. I thought I saved one not trimmed, but it looks like I trimmed them all, guys. Oh, here's one. It's like I got ahead of myself. I've just taken off that bottom section. It's got a little indentation there, so it's really easy to cut. We're going to do that, and we'll end up with 6 pieces. So in general, we'll probably use a couple pieces here, 1 at the bow, and then the other 3 working its way up. I know that we're going to need some fishtail in between the greenery we already have. So what we're going to do is take our fishtail now, and I'm going to push it up, make it just a little bit shorter, and trim that. And let's lay that kind of in the background, and then we'll put our filler in. So we keep that wispiness. So in between where we had the other fishtail earlier, we're going to come and put this in individually. So I'm going to come in between these two and put a piece in. And if you need the Spanish moss, put the Spanish moss if it's sitting good and you feel like, oh, that went in nicely. Now you have other things to put it in with. Little sections. I went in between those. Let's go down our way. And make sure you're kind of staying in the midline here when you put it in. See how that comes out pretty now? Let's do it right here. Same thing. I'm going right between my other greeneries. Yeah. And now to the outside. And that's going to give us a little bit more going on behind our filler that we're about to put in. Especially up here in this area. Beautiful. Okay, and then let's put one maybe right here, kind of working its way behind that bloom here. Okay, so we just filled it in a little bit. We have 4 pieces of fishtail left, which is going to go around the bow. I'm going to keep that down there. Now, let's get our filler that we already did prep. We trimmed every one down, and they come in clusters of 3. I still left them kind of long because we've got to get out behind things. So my first piece is going in on this side, and I'm going to have it sit kind of right here. Go back. I got to go down a little bit more. There you go. Okay, I'm going to use my Spanish moss in there. Fill that in. Fantastic. Okay, let me step back for a second. Now my next piece, I'm going to work it more to the inside right here. Or to the outside. I think I like it to the outside. Let's go to the outside. We're kind of getting close to our bow zone, so we're not really going too hard in there, but we're in that general area. These have a good wire, so you can kick them up, down, or up, whatever you want. Okay, bow zone, so let's transition the other way. Let's take this one and have it go up. So I'm shaping it where the large roses, the longer roses in the back, and the shorter roses in the front. Try to get it into the wreath, guys. That wanted to come like forward. No. I had to boss it around. So I'm going to put this one over here, and that leaves us 2 more working our way up, okay? Let's go. Cannot wait to get our bow in. I think we're going to make that next, because then we'll have like a starting point to put all the greenery and stuff around the bow. Okay, let's work our way up. I'm going to put the next one here, kind of zigzagging, and we're shaping that up. The big bloom in the back, longer bloom, the short ones in front. I am giving that bottom stem a little kick forward. That just went between those. Great. Now let's go up here. So we're introducing a larger bloom in with our wildflowers to kind of add some interest. And we have this big butterfly in the back, which is really drawing your eye into the design. Okay, bring that forward. Looks good. I can see a little glue there. Let me get my Spanish moss in. Y'all, so pretty. Let's get back here and hide that. Camoed. Ooh, it's looking so full. Let me show you close up. Look how pretty. See it? You feel it? Yeah. It's looking really good. It's giving us that really nice, elegant look. I'm loving it. So I'm going to start with This is our pretty teal. It has a reversible navy blue on there, so it's got a nice dramatic ribbon. And then this one is a Dupont. It has that silky finish, that neat finish, and we'll have that on top of it. So I'm going to start with this in the background. And I would like about a 16-inch tail to start here. I'm just going to cut that at an angle. And we'll measure that out on our bow maker. I'll bring that to the center and I'm going to twist, okay? And I'm going to keep the green forward and the blue on the back. So I'm thinking about that as I'm making my loops. I'm going to go all the way out to 7, nice and loopy, and twist. Keep that loopy out here, 7 on this side. Perfect. Twist. And we're going to have 2 loops in the back. This ribbon is really nice. It's going to sit up really pretty. In our design, we'll go 7 on the right here. Okay, I'm going to scrunch that. And I'm going to have this tail be a little bit longer at about 20 so they're not symmetrical. Okay. One just a little bit longer than the other. Really spread those out nice. Now I'm going to bring the pink on top. And we're going to have matching tails. First one will be the shorter tail. I'm going to twist. Put 2 fingers in the middle to hold that. And now I'm going out at 7, same length. We're not going to taper in. Everybody's going to stay nice and long. Hold that in the center, bring your next loop to the middle, just back it up a little. Twist, and we're going to do 3 loops now. Just lay 1 in the middle, and the other 2 will just lay right on top of these others. This gives us our pretty color combo. I'm going to measure on the last one, and then I'll spread it out. Scrunch that and then bring these back to cut that. And now let's come back with the green blue in the middle. Got the same length tail again, and I'll twist. And I'm going to cut that one at an angle cut. Now we're coming into the middle, and I'm going to go a little bit smaller at 6 for this center loop. Scrunch it down. And another really little bit shorter tail to finish her off. And now I'm ready to bring this off the bow maker. I'm going to go right beside. Bring that up. Rotate that through your fingers, and let's start to fluff this out. Really shape up this nice loopy bow. I love this one because all the loops are the same length, basically, except for that center one. It's going to have lots of pretty movement. Okay, when I'm all done, I'm going to attach my cable tie to the back. That's how I'm going to put it on the wreath. Pull that tight. And let's just cut this off. And now we're ready to add our ribbon to the middle. Just lay that down. Okay, and I'm going to go with the pink in the middle. So we'll just cut a piece here. That's about 10 inches long. And that'll cover our mechanics, make it very polished down the middle. And you don't see any wire or cable tie down there, and we are good to go. Okay, and this bow is ready to go in our wreath. I think you're gonna love it. Oh, look at it. So full of pizzazz and tails. It's a killer one. We're going to put the bow in. I want you to play with this. You could put it where you match the angle. You could put it where you kind of go against the angle, or you could come back this way, kind of tuck this bow in right here, and I like that the best, where it's kind of tucked in and not facing forward. It's kind of sitting here, matching the direction of our butterfly. So I'm going to put this kind of like this, a little cattywampus. So I'm going to put the tails doing this, splitting that stuff. If you have to take some floral out, you take some floral out. It's okay. We tried to leave plenty of room in the bow zone, but you never know how much we need. But I like that sitting up here. So let's go in with that. Kind of, so it's sitting kind of at the top of the wreath. Don't let it sag down or go forward. Put it through the branches up here so it has to sit up. Okay. I'm going to trim that off. I put it real tight because I want to control how it's leaning. I love this stuff, guys. Woof. Okay, let's curl a little. Let's play a little. Got some tails rocking here. We got some tails kicking out over here. But I like to bring these forward. And we're going to have floral in between the layers a little bit. So that's going to be fun. Now I'm going to take this out because it ends up not coming out of the center of the bow. So I'm going to see if I can get it out pretty easily, or it's going to be a pain. Okay. Now, oh yeah, the glue's a little still warm. Perfect. Now, in order to kind of clean that and neaten that up a little bit, I'm going to come right out of the center of the bow, or I'll just keep it over here off to the side. And I think I'll just keep it over here off the side. And we'll use some of that filler flower at the bow. So let me curl this around. All right, and let's tuck this in right under here and kind of come out this way. Yeah. So pretty. So pretty. Oh, I love that. Ooh, 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 ooh. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, bow's in. Now let's start adding some of those fillers in around the bow. And for us, that is going to be the pink filler flower and the fishtail. That's what we're putting in next. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, we're going to put this in right now. So I want you to take and push these up till you get nice little clusters of pinks. We're going to cut them long to get out from around the bow, but I want these to be their own little clusters and not too spread out. Fantastic. Now cut these all real long, like as long as they'll go, and we'll make these into clusters like we did the fishtail. And we're going to work this all around the bow, okay? So what you want to do is take one that has a flower and one that has the berry and go one tall, one short, cut them to match. And everyone will be different. Swirl that in the glue. We're going in tight to the bow. So let's take our first one and kind of go behind everybody back here. Watch your twigs. You don't get burned. And this is kind of a good spot because everything's really tight from the bow and stuff. So it's not going in. There we go. I'm going to bring that back now. And that'll just come out right here. I'll bend it pretty good and it'll pop out between these two. Perfect. Okay, now let's put some tight over here. So these are little surprises that are going to pop out between the layers of the ribbon. Now, mind your direction. If it's over here, it needs to go that way. If it's over here, it needs to go this way. We're pretty much doing that. The only thing I'm doing is bringing it a little bit back into the bow. Push that in. Yeah. And bend it. Ooh, I love it. Let's put one down below also. Maybe kind of coming out of the center. And we've got this whole entire bush to use down here. We don't have to have it other places in our design. If we want it down here, we can have it. Okay, spread apart your bow and let's go right in underneath. Yeah, right there. Perfect. And one more on the right side. So a berry one, a flower one. Stagger them. Trim them to the same length. Hold it like a pencil, twirl it in that glue pot, come in from the right. Oh yeah, look at that. Ooh, that looks wispy in there. I'm gonna try just a touch of fishtail in there too, not a bunch, just a little bit. I'm gonna make this short. We gotta keep that stem a little long though, because we gotta get behind the ribbon. Let's see if we can get 2 pieces of fishtail like opposite these others we already put in. Go in between a couple of layers. Make sure you're going into the grapevine, not through the back, okay? Try not to. Looks pretty good right there. That one might have gone through the back, so I'll have to, when we get towards the end, I will flip it around and double check. Now this one, I'm going to kind of have it just go straight up instead of curve it because it's kind of coming out of the top of the bow. So we're using our pink filler bush down here. We have a little bit left. And I'm using 2 pieces of fishtail just to add layering into the bow. Oh, pretty. Just pop those up. And that gives that all that dimension and tucks it in there. And I like it at that opposite angle where she's kind of crashing in and that pops it in. Okay, right now we're getting ready to put our lavender filler next. You got just a little bit left of these. So before we even get to the lavender filler, let's take a look and see where we might have a couple of holes. I see one right there between those 2. So I'm going to make my own little cluster with 1 fishtail and 2 of the flowers from the floral bush. And I'm making a cluster of 3 and trimming it off. Fill that in right now before we put the lavender in. That way we don't have any big surprises. I'm going to go right here. Yeah, there we go. And then those roses are pretty there. How about let's put a little bit of filler right there. And then that just gives it a touch of filler in a couple of different locations. Here, I'm going to take this one, make a little cluster. We're going to come right here. We kind of did our bow detail work before the end this time, okay? A lot of times we do that at the end, but today we did it before that. Right in there, and then here's this little piece. Let's just take and have that tuck in there all by itself. Okay, y'all, we got all the pink filler in. I feel good about our holes. We've got them covered. We've got greenery everywhere. We got twigs in the background. I'm loving all that. Kind of bridge our gap from our teal to our pink. It pulls in this little touch of lavender that's on those. It's very subtle, and because it's super wispy, it looks really good at anything wildflower. So what you want to do is just tear apart this bush. It tears apart really into these pre-made clusters that are great. Easy peasy to work with. And you want to take all of these and then just trim them to where they're all the same length. I'm just going to give them about 2 inches past the part where they're clustered together. It's important you don't cut them too short or you'll lose the pre-made clusters. So we're going to do that to the whole bush. When you do that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 pieces. So we're going to start off over here. We're going to probably put 4 over here, 3 over there, and that leaves us 2 around the bow. Something like that. So let's kind of get started on the right side. Now, just take and shape them up before you put them in. It's important we don't just go willy-nilly with them, or your wildflowers are going to lose their pretty shape. So I'm going to start with my first piece, kind of going behind our pink roses, tucking in right there. Beautiful, okay? I'm going to come down a little. We're going to zigzag to the outside. So when we go to the outside, reverse it to where the shorter piece goes to the outside, right? And the longer piece kind of goes up. That way we don't get a piece shooting way out. And remember, I'm still putting these in the midline. I'm not going out into the outside of the grapevine. Okay? Perfect. Zigzag back in right here. This is piece number 3 over here. And I'm allocating 4 for this side, so we're doing good. This is going to go to the inside, so now put the little piece on the inside. So that way it can kind of come and break the plane of the butterfly. And I'm tucking these behind. They're not going in front. They're going behind the behind the fishtail. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Number 4 is going to go back to the outside. Do that same situation. Now, this time, I just yanked that off. I'll have to glue that back on in just a second. This time, this one's going to go to the foreground. A little bit here, a little bit tighter. So I laid it on top of the greenery because I wanted it right behind that hydrangea. Now let's switch to this side. Remember, we're doing that C shape with everything we do. So this first piece is going to go to the outside right here. Kind of came down a little bit with it because I want to do another piece kind of overlapping kind of the butterfly at the top there. So the inside part of the zigzag here up higher. And now I don't need as much Spanish moss. I'm going into places there's already other florals. It's tighter when you're pushing it in. See how that scoops around? So I went inside, outside. Let's come back to the inside. This piece, and this one kind of worked down there by the bow a little. Come down. Right there. And now let's come right outside right here. I love having this lavender part. Really ties that cottagey look together. Okay, now let's take a look at it. We've got one more, and I'm just going to go walk back from it, squint my eyes, and see where I don't see lavender. I'm just looking for lavender, and I think we just need a piece right here, and we can have it kind of scoop up. And I think we're good with that. Have her work right beside these guys. Oh my gosh, so pretty. I love it, y'all. Yo, that ain't going in there. Just bending my stem. I'm going to trim my stem just a little bit. Let's try again. I'm going to have to look. There we go, I think. The bow's in there too, and it's like fighting in. There we go. It felt good going in. You might as well get it right now, because otherwise you're going to have to fix it later if you don't. Looks so good. Looks so good, y'all. Oh, we are basically done before we even do this part, but now we're going to add the twigs to the foreground. All our other twigs are kind of chilling in the back, but these twigs are going to be loud and proud and in front. So we're going to use the same technique we did, but we're going to try to put these a little bit more forward in between where we put twigs before. So basically you get that zigzag look, but these are going to kind of come, they're still going to shape the same way, but they'll be layered in front. So there'll be greenery behind them. So my first piece, and I prepared the twigs the exact same way we did before. So I'm going to go between these two, just right in here. We're going to tuck that in. There's a wire in there so you can take and straighten that up a little bit and just have that kind of come in between, just a little bit forward. Okay. Now we're going to go in between these two on the inside. Kind of like an opposite zigzag of what we did before. Okay, I got my greenery on, my glue on it. And this one's gonna go in front. So I move some stuff out of the way, but make sure you don't put it behind. Perfect, now I'm achieving more of that wispiness. Okay, that's what we want in the wildflower designs. All right, now between these two, okay, go into the outside, but not like this. Keep these cupped in, okay? Everybody comes in to stay with that cohesive look. Just going down here in the foreground. Oops, I got glue on that flower and it got me. Just on that little wildflower. How dare you, wildflower? It wasn't that bad, it just scared me. Okay, now let's come down and put one between these two, kind of coming forward. And if twigs aren't your thing, don't do the twigs. No worries. This is just part of this look and how your work's going to always be standing out and being different. Not like everybody else's. That's our really main focus when we get down to it. Standing out from the crowd, being different. Let's go there. In between these two, we'll get that glue string off there. Same song, different verse. Coming in the foreground here, there's this twig here. So we're going to go between that and the next one. I can just push that in right there. Perfect. All right, now let's work to the outside here. Still staying in the foreground. Whoops, watch your glue pot. Let's just set that whole puppy in there. Nice. All right, now let's go to the inside. A little bit tighter to the bow. That's just so cool to me, kind of coming over the bow. All right, we need some on the outside here too. We've got this one here. Let's work between them more forward. Push that in. Right now I'm fighting some glue strings here because I dipped it in the glue pot. Bend that down just a little bit. Okay, now that's in the background. All this is going there. We're doing pretty good. I think we're pretty good. I'm going to do one more behind the bow down here. I'm not going to put much more over the bow. Like, I'm not just going to use these to use them up, but I'm going to come behind the bow down here at the bottom, kind of in behind. There you go. Let that kind of work up between those. All right, this is scooping around. I have like a couple more. Let me step back and take a look. Oh, you guys, it's so beautiful. Just love that look. It's just so pretty. Let's go one more over here, maybe a little bit to the background. I'm even checking the background now, looking for holes, because when you see this from the street, you'll be able to see the perimeter of the greenery and the twigs, and I want to make sure it looks pretty even. I'll go a little bit to the outside there, and then I'm going to put one more here, kind of behind. Sorry to get so quiet. I'm just excited. You can always tuck these back in too. They don't all have to be open. Woo! It's stunning. It's like rock star status, guys. Oh, bloomerinos. We're crushing it. I'm going one more under the bow. Right from the middle. You can't hide from me there, yeah. Okay, we did it. It looks so great. I hope you're excited about trying a showstopper like this one. It's big and beautiful, and it's really a long time since we've worked on a big 24-inch wreath, and it's stunning. It's gorgeous, and of course, I'm gonna find the perfect spot, the perfect home to sell that to for somebody who wants a really big and beautiful wildflower design. I love it. Hey Bloomerinos, I'm getting ready to make a wreath that someone can use as a gift because it's perfect to go in someone's home all year long. So think about housewarmings. If you're going to any parties, this would be a great gift to bring, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's get started. This is something I would teach in class, that you're going to start with a a darker green that I'm going to layer in a lighter green. And then I'm going to bring the color from the back forward again, and that creates depth, and that's why we're going to bring in the boxwood in the foreground. So we're going to take first and kind of push these up slightly. We call this particular fern bush fishtail fern. It's exclusive to please.com. It comes in a couple of different colors, but this is the dark green color. Push these up a little bit shorter so we can kind of control our sizing, that we don't get just so huge, all right? So once you do that, you're going to take and cut these down. You do want fairly long stems, so it'll be easy to put them in the wreath. So I'm going to cut this all down right here. These have about 3-inch stems. And my students in design school, I will always show them exactly how the cuts are going to be, how we're going to cluster it and make it, so that way it makes it easier for you to work with our particular products when you get them. So we're going to start off here and work our way around. Now you are going to want a little bit of Spanish moss. I've got my little bit of moss with me here. This I use to cover my mechanics. It's never included in any kits. We just sell it individually. So just know that if you don't have some Spanish moss, you're going to need to grab some. The other thing I'm going to be using when I'm making this is our electric glue skillet. So this is hot glue in here. This is a mini electric skillet, so it's used for cooking. So the first thing we're going to do is start to put in our fern, and I am just dipping it in the glue right off camera. And I'm going to start to put this around the perimeter, okay? Now, we're going to just start putting it in. Now, if you're a little bit more uncomfortable just placing it in like I'm doing, what you can do is lay it out and come back and glue it in. That's fine too. But I'm just starting to kind of get a perimeter started, which is usually one of our first steps in creating a wreath that's going to be having greenery in the background. I'm gluing a little bit off camera, so you're going to see it going. Now everybody's been going in nice and neat and clean, but we got to a section here to where there's some spacing in that wreath. So the glue is hitting a few places, but it's not hitting everywhere. So this is when the magic of the Spanish moss comes in. Not only does it cover up, it's going to cover up the glue, which is mainly what we want, but it also creates kind of like a space filler. So now that Spanish moss is in there, and it helps keep it tight to hold it in. So that's something I've been doing for years. It's a little bit different than a lot of creators do. I particularly love it. I love the look of moss. I'm always working with natural type looking materials, even though these are all artificial. This moss is real, but it has been dyed and it has been cooked, so it's buggy free, no buggies. It's dyed and it's all safe for you to use. But I want you to know that it's one of my favorite things to use to hide mechanics, okay? Sometimes you won't need it because of the fact that, you know, stuff goes in good, you don't even see the glue. You maybe see a little bit right there. I can put a little bit on there. So we kind of went in with our first bush. All right, we got pretty even spacing. And now we're gonna come back in and we're gonna add a little bit more as we kind of layer up our design, okay? So I'm gonna put my Spanish moss over to the side, but I've still got it over here if I need it. And we're gonna start to now build on the next layer, which is gonna be the eucalyptus. And this is really pretty. This is a really premium eucalyptus because it looks very real. And we're gonna take and cut this bush up. First, I'm gonna trim this little raffia off here, which always looks so cute, nicely polished and finished. And we'll pull that off. Oh, I've got little raffia bits everywhere, but oh, that's so fun. Now, this one breaks up into these gorgeous stems, like it is ready to go, and it's already bunched into little great sections. And I want you to pay attention to how this moves. Movement is so important in your designs, and when you're making a piece like this that you want to give as a gift, think about how pretty it's going to be on their door when a little breeze comes by and it gets that little bit of movement. It's going to look so realistic. Now, these are going to go in kind of between our fishtail. And I think we're going to just cut them really pretty short. We're just going to keep them just about the same length as our other fishtail, kind of layering up our design. Let's try one and I'll put it in and see. We'll put it right here. Let's double check this length. Go in there, buddy. Oh my gosh, it's going to be pretty. That's beautiful. So let's go with that, and we'll go between each one as we go around. I'm going to bring this one in. So when you're making gifts, what's one of your favorite things to do? Do you just enjoy the process of creating? Or are you creating something with, you know, a certain feeling you have in mind that they're going to feel when they see this on their door? I'd love to know more about it. It is so fun when you make something with somebody in mind for the gift. And this particular project is a kit, so I was even thinking, if you have a creative friend who loves to be crafty, what a fantastic gift this would be, right? This would be just perfect because they wouldn't have to go out and get anything. The only things they would need is a little bit of wire cutters and some glue and an electric skillet like this, or a glue gun would work. Now when I'm bringing in this, I'm going to go right between each layer, okay? So if there is a fishtail, I'm going between it, okay? I'm putting it in. Oh, this one needs to go right here. I pulled that one back out. We keep working our way around. Now these are singles instead of doubles. So what I'm going to do is when they're a single spray, I'm going to put 2 in here because this one had a little bit less. All right, and notice how I'm kind of keeping a curve going. If possible, I can see a little bit of my glue. I'm going to put a little bit of my moss here to kind of hide it. All right. Here's 2 more singles. We'll use these next. It's just too much fun building up these. Hey, and if you've got anybody who's going through a stressful time or needs a new something to kind of take their mind off of life stresses, I would encourage you to try wreath making because of how relaxing it is. It is relaxing, and when you're getting a kit, there's not this huge investment. You don't have to run around and get a lot of the stuff. You just grab the kit. It comes to your door. It has links to this video. It's got a QR code. You can just come and scan. You're not having to hunt to even find the video. You don't have to email us. You're welcome to email us anytime, but you don't have to, because we make it simple to find out what you need to get back to watch this class. Okay? And then if you have a friend who loves wreath making, if you've bought a few of our kits and you've tried them, then I would say come and join us in design school, because in class we're doing it every week. We're doing it with you, and I'm not trying to stress you out or wear you out with just tons of content. I just want you to enjoy the process of creating and kind of get into this Zen vibe when you get to create beautiful things. Okay, we got this started. You can see what a great base we have started with. Now, our next step is going to be to layer a little bit more. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to grab a little bit of that fishtail. We have this left from our first bush, but we're not done. We're going to keep layering it up. So here's our fishtail, and we're going to put this in next again. So you're going to push it up. And you can see we're going to build up the lushness by putting layers in. Now I want this one a little shorter because I want to layer it in right next to where we have the eucalyptus. So cut this one in a little bit shorter, just 2-inch stems, and I've pushed it up a little bit more, okay? And what we're going to do now is we're going to go everywhere we had a eucalyptus. Now we're going to kind of make sure that this is laying right over a eucalyptus. So that means I'm going to have to put it a little bit further back and a little bit more to the center. We have been running kind of towards the perimeter. Now we're going to come a little bit more to the center. And I'm just going to work my way around. And we're going to put one right between each of those. And make sure you're going into the wreath. That's always really important. You don't want to be going through the back. We're going to go into the wreath. And I am dipping into glue over here because I'm bringing it over. Make sure you're going into the wreath. This is so pretty already. I literally get so excited when we're just coming in here and it's building up so quickly and nicely. I got a little glue on that one. It pulled off. No worries, it pulled off. All right, this one I'm pushed down just a little bit more. It was a little bit longer stem. All right, we're gonna go in here. Look how pretty it is. Just laying out here. Yeah, it is fun to make these as gifts. And you know what? You can grab a couple of kits, make this with your good friends, have a wine night, have a little cocktail fun, and you know, make it together. Hey, you could even give it as a gift with a little card in there saying, you know, you call me, we come over, we make these kits together. Look how pretty this is already. Okay, eucalyptus, then we layered on a little bit more of the fern. Now I'm ready to bring back eucalyptus again. So we're gonna grab our other bush. We have a little bit left from the first round. And we're gonna grab our others. Look how pretty this is. It's getting bigger than the camera. We have room in the camera. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna trim these off. This time really short, right? And you wanna stay, if you can, right here where it's, this part where it's kind of, it's wrapped in some additional plastic because it's keeping a couple pieces together. So we wanna try to keep it that short if we can, because it'll make it go a little bit faster. So let me cut some of these off. Hi! You gotta have strong hands here. Get it? Oh. You could cut one at a time. This is when you know my ADD is kicking in. Like, cut them all, let's go. Let's go, people. Impatient. All right, a couple more. Y'all, my kiddo has a just a fun weekend planned of sports, and I know she's going to be keeping me busy, so I'm glad I'm getting ahead of the game making a couple of gifts, and hopefully you enjoy these too, where you can make some too. Now we're going to put on our eucalyptus and kind of keep working on the depth that we were coming together with this design. So what we're going to do is we're going to dip those into the glue pot, and then I'm going to kind of just piggyback, which means I'm just going to come right behind where I was before, and I'm going to keep these shorter and more to the middle. Like, we're not going to keep going out to the perimeter. We're going to keep making this more to the center. Oh my gosh, this is turning out so pretty. Y'all have to head over to Cleese.com and grab this kit, or go shop our Greenery. Put some greeneries together that you like, and think about this. You want two that are kind of a similar color palette, and then one that's maybe a little bit different, where this one's a little matted. So the colors layer together really pretty. And in this recipe, I think we're doing 2 of each bush. And depending how big you want to make, we're working on a 14-inch wreath base. So if you want to go really big, you will need to, you know, get some more. But overall, this is going to work pretty good. I'm going to put these to the side. We're going to use these smaller pieces to fill in like little holes in a little bit. And I'm going to keep working with these around to the center. Okay, so we're going to keep these curved in here. Watch your glue string. We do not want glue string madness. All right. The fun thing is you can create so many different looks. Whatever, you know, you want to do. I love this. All right. So take a look at it. I think that looks great. Now, I'm real happy with how wispy we are here around the center. I want to work a little bit more on the outside just to add a little bit more thickness as we go around. So what I'm going to do is kind of every other one, we're going to put a little bit more to the perimeter, okay? So like here, I've got a little bit of a hole. I want to put one here. Perfect. And just hold it up and take a look. Okay, right here, I see we could use a little more out on the perimeter. So you're just beefing it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're kind of adding a little bit between some of the longer pieces of the fishtail. Come on in here. And you don't necessarily have to worry about hiding the mechanics anymore because it's way behind everything. You're good. Oh, that looks great. I think we're doing great. I'm gonna put one more right here behind this one. I think we have an excellent shape. Okay. This kit has more that comes with it, but if you wanted to keep it super simple, you could stop right here. But you know we're going to take it to the next level because I like when you mix 3 greeneries. I think it gives it more interest. So let's bring in our next greenery. This killer cute boxwood. And this boxwood has just a really adorable leaf on it. So if you will take and just push these up and get cute little sections right here. Little clusters, little poofs of happiness of boxwood. They're pretty symmetrical in their size and shape. We're going to do this, and we're going to cut these with about 2-inch stems. They don't need to be much longer. Don't cut them too short though, because we have to work through all of this now. So let's do 3 inches to be safe, so you've got plenty of room. Okay, just like that. We're going to do that with both bushes. Let's take these, and we're going to start to use these kind of in the center, right at the middle. So I'm going to start to bring these in and go around. I'm going to push them in and give them a little bend up. Isn't that great? So you see me bending that wire a little? We need to do that to be able to take and make sure that wire does not pop out the back. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. All right. Bring this one, and we're just stacking these. They're not trying. We're just going one after another around that center, keeping it tight. And you can see what a difference that's going to make on our dimension, because these are going to be tight. I had to trim that one down a little bit. We left it a little bit too long. Okay, and I keep pushing them up, and we're going around that circle. Generally, I just rotate the wreath because I like to work right here in this left-hand kind of quadrant. I'm going to bring that in. Make sure you're going into the wreath. We don't want any wires shooting out the back. Try not to. We're going to try. We can always clean it up if we have to, but if you just keep practicing, you can get it to cooperate and go where you want it to go. You see how pretty that layered in? Now you can just tell, oh my gosh, look at all this color. These beautiful greens that are ever so slightly different just look gorgeous together. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Isn't that pretty? And you may have a little bit of greenery left, or you can come in and just put even more in, depending how much you want to put in here. This kit also is going to come with some ribbon, so I'm going to show you that in a minute, but look how pretty. Now, you guys, you know we're making this for a wreath, but literally this would be a gorgeous candle ring right here on a big candle for any season. It's not seasonable. Seasonable. You can put salt or pepper on it, but I don't know that it's going to help it. Isn't that pretty? I got a couple pieces left. I'm just going to take and see where I can fill in. That looks gorgeous. I'm going to put a little bit right here. I see where I have a little hole. And what you could do is take and hang it up. Hang it up just a little bit, and that way you can see if you missed anything anywhere. Any holes. Sometimes they're not as, you might see it depending what's hanging, up or left or right. Isn't that pretty? I just made a gorgeous boxwood in the center here. And it doesn't have the stinky smell of real boxwood that's preserved. You're lucky. It's all just got a normal smell, no smell. Look how pretty this is. Isn't this gorgeous? This is gorgeous. Now I'm going to show you the very last touch we made for this. Are you ready? Y'all, we tied a classic black and white bow for this wreath, and I'm going to give you some options of where to put it. It looks beautiful just right at the top of your wreath, just kind of coming down, cascading down, okay? Well, option 1. Option 2, you can put the bow down here at the bottom and let it just hang down the door. Let the beautiful door hang down and cascade, because it's got these gorgeous tails. Now, if you don't know how to make a bow like this, I'll be happy to show you. We'll put a link here. If you go to the supply list for this project, it will also have a link for how to make this bow. So anytime you see our projects, there'll be a supply list that you go to, or the kit, and the kit will also have links to the videos, so you won't miss a thing. And I'm going to take this. The other option is to kind of tuck it in here to the bottom corner, and that's where I'm going to put mine, because that's always my favorite, to kind of push it in right here. So I'm going to take my cable tie and we'll attach it over here at the bottom, just pull some of this greenery out of your way. Now when you're putting on a bow, don't get all crazy and try to suck it way down into your project, okay? When you get a cable tie and you pull it tight, it'll pull way down and it kind of makes it look weird. So just get it on there with a little tension, not a lot. I'm going to trim that off. And now we're going to fluff it and kind of work the florals in around it. And this is always really important to me. And my design school students will tell you that we work hard to incorporate our bows into the project. And sometimes we want it to look like the bow's on top, and sometimes we want it to look like the bow is integrated with the design and it's coming, you know, through. So a great way to do that, and we've got a little bit of eucalyptus left here, is kind of make sure we use some of this to break the plane of the ribbons. And that's a good trick you can try too on your own. So I'm going to separate these out slightly, and then we're going to come in here in the middle and just bring this right down. Okay, oh my gosh, how pretty. And so now I've actually taken and layered a little of this greenery into the bow. And how pretty is that? And then we can put just a little bit here at the top, just a little leaf of it. We don't need a whole bunch here. And I'm going to pop this in here at the top and kind of let that come out. And you see what I'm talking about? Just those couple of little extra pieces made such a difference. And this wreath is going to be beautiful whether you use the bow, you use all 3 greeneries that come in the kit, or you just back it off and use a couple and use the other stuff for something else. This is such a great gift to give anytime, and I think if you give it a try, you're going to find out how easy and how pretty it is to make these yourself. This is a longer rosemary. This is kind of like the kind you would use on your barbecue pit, and you pull the leaves off, or you might use some of the wood to give it that nice flavor. This is an artificial type like that, and it's got the longer stems. So that's going to work great for our perimeter and have a really natural vibe. So I'm going to grab my wire cutters, and you're going to cut these as long as they will go. Now this one is too thick. If I leave it like this, that's too many pieces. We're going to cut that off. We want them all to be kind of smaller pieces because this wreath isn't all the way around. It's 360 design, so we want to take them all the way. And I'm just going to cut each one of these off here too. And you're doing this so you're prepping your bush so it's really easy to work with. We can leave a couple clusters, but we want to have a nice strong stem. And you want to grab your Spanish moss because we're going to need it too right now. And we're going to just work our way around the perimeter with these. And we're just going to start off working our way around. I'm generally going to go clockwise, and you're not going to go all the way out to the edge. You see I'm kind of going in that 3/4 spot. You guys, if you love these type of wreath designs, we would love to have you in our design school where weekly we come out with new tutorials, and you get a weekly live with me, answering your questions, chatting about life. We just love to be in there talking about what's going on in our lives and just have a friendship in the wreathing community. We've got people in there who are sellers, others who just love to just create and make beautiful pieces for their home. We've got every level in the group, and I adore that because it's fun to have the more advanced students posting their work and motivating all of us to keep on creating and making beautiful things. And then we welcome the beginners because the beginners are exactly where we used to be when we started. So all of that is just a treasure. So I love to be live with them each week. You guys see that right there with some glue? I just covered it with moss. So we're just working our way around. And remember, I'm in the 3/4 zone. You can go further out. We're working with a 14-inch wreath base. You can go further out, but then you just need more material. So you'll have to plan on getting a couple more bushes. But this is our perimeter, and we want it kind of tight to I like it kind of tight to my garland we're going to be putting in the middle. So we're just working around. And if you don't have quite as much experience, like my 26 years, you might want to go ahead and put them in without gluing them first, then come back and glue it. I'm a little more confident in my placement, just because I've done it thousands and thousands of times. This would be a gorgeous just wreath by itself. This rosemary is beautiful. Okay, that's looking amazing. Now the next thing we want to do is we're going to hold these off for a little bit. We've still got that much left, but you want to grab your gypso. That's the longer gypso. It's a filler. It's actually a filler bush, and we're going to take and trim it down to where each stem is nice and neat. So we're going to take and break these off and trim them nice and neat. Just take and tear this apart, and then once you do that, you can take and trim off the ends. We got to have it nice and neat. And we just want 2-inch stems on here, not very long. Once you do that, you're going to come up with these beautiful pieces just like that. And then with all of these neat trim pieces, we're going to work around and go right in between that rosemary. So one of the neat things about this trend with the baby's breath is that it is a little unruly. So you want to make sure you're staying in your clockwise design. So each one of these comes in, we're going to stay in our clockwise design. So I'm going to put this in a little bit more towards the center and work my way around. And we're going to try to go in between either each one or every other one. We'll see if we have enough to do each one. I think we've got enough. And I just put a little glue and we're pushing it in. Be a little bit liberal on the glue because you want to make sure it's going to stay good. If the glue globs up on the base, then you're going to come back and definitely cover it with the moss. So already we've created this really pretty look of the dark green in the background and the light green on the foreground. That layering up is gorgeous, okay? Created some beautiful interest, and I'm working my way right around. You guys have to come get supplies from us. If you'll try our supplies from police.com, I promise you'll be happy. I really try to have higher end pieces at reasonable prices. And if you join design school, you're going to get the next level teaching and assets right at your fingertips. So literally, you can always be inspired to create your next beautiful project. I did craft shows for a living, guys, which is unusual. A lot of people do craft shows on the side, but I did them for a living for 17 years. Some of that while teaching, and then the last 12 to 13 without teaching. I did take the leap of faith to do it for a living, traveled all over the country. I am thankful for all that experience because I can pass it on to you. With my construction techniques, I had to have things that held up to travel to different cities. That I also know what sells well because I've sold a lot of these pieces. And because we sell now on our website different designs and styles, not every trend is a trend that's a keeper. So, you know, I cut out the BS for you and just deliver what you need. Okay, you can see how gorgeous this is already, right? This is stunning already. Now our next layer is our longer gypso that's a little more, it's a little bit different green. And we're gonna take and cut this down. It comes in long stems. You're gonna push these up. I've already pushed them up to make these cute little clusters. And we wanna cut these fairly short. I just trimmed them like this. But what you wanna do is work around now and make these, I would say, about 4-inch stems. So trim everybody down to shorter little stems. So they're all the same. So you can just kind of gather them like this. You know, okay, this one's a little longer. See, this one needs to be pushed. There we go. And this one needs to be pushed a little more. I think they're a little cuter pushed into one cluster, if you can. See, let's see this one. Yeah. Okay, once you do that, then just kind of stack them up where they're pretty close. Oh, they're so pretty. And trim those all to 4-inch stems. So these are all pretty similar. Now we're going to work around the perimeter, and I'm going to put one and skip one this time. So we'll put one in and we'll skip one. Okay. So these are going to go like a little bit thicker, but in between. Now we're going to be using that garland towards the middle. So put one, skip one. I'm going to go right behind my other greenery we had. We can always come back and put more, but we're going to start this way. The garland's going in the center, and it's our really tight pop of white. We're going to work this all around the perimeter. Now let's say you're watching this and you're like, I love what you got going. I tell you what, you could just stick with this and just double this recipe right now and don't buy the garland. You could do it just like this too. So that's the kind of tips I give you in design school also. Because every recipe has so many different varieties. Think about when you're cooking. You know, some people want more onions, some people want some cayenne peppers, some people want, you know, a little more flour, or they want it gluten-free. Now I'm going to tuck in some in between here just to make some of these clusters a little thicker, and I'm going to make sure that those form a triangle. Uh-oh, we're getting deep on the design. You can do it though. Try it. All right, beautiful. This is coming together so stinking pretty. We have barely gotten started and it's so pretty. Now grab your garland. The garland comes with these little attachment pieces that go on the bottom. You know, to hang it on things. We don't need that, but I do want to use this stem a little long to get her started. Now, the neat thing about this garland, she's on an incredible wire. I love that. So I'm going to utilize that to kind of bunch her up as we're putting it in. So we're going to pick a starting point, and we're going to start to put her in, go in the same direction. I'm going to just put her little wire here, and I want these to stay really tight to where everything else is gone so far. So the idea is we're going to run one on the outside and one on the inside. I want you to do a dry run and make sure it's going to fit. Oh my God, how pretty. I made this thinking you would use this for a wedding wreath, but nah, you can use it for yourself because it's so pretty. We're going to have enough to do 2 runs. So what we need to do is you can cut it or you could cable tie it. And I think it's gonna be a little easier to cut it, to control it. So I'm gonna make like a little section here, and I'm gonna leave myself a little bit of a stem here. And we're gonna put a little glue on that. I'm gonna bring the glue to it. Y'all, I don't use a glue gun. This is a bamboo stick coming into a, coming out of the glue pot. This is gonna stay back a little because I'm gonna have some on the inside. Now hit that with moss. This is so fun. All right, next little section. Let's do it. I gotta cut it in the middle so I can have a little stem on each side. Let's go right here. And we'll just tuck this right in. Let me get a little glue on this one. And we're gonna just make it like it's continuous. You can also take and cable tie it, like I said, but I think we'd be fighting a lot of cable ties in there. And then this one with a little wire end. Put some glue on it. So we're gonna go slow. Watch your glue strings. And this is kind of going a little bit more tighter to the florals because we're going to run another little bit inside, okay? Cut it in the middle so you leave a little stem on each side. Get the glue right to it. Don't use a glue gun, please. It's way hot. You're going to burn the tar out of yourself. Just stick with using your little electric skillet, and we're going to work it around. So if you've never tried a glue skillet, you need to. They're just wonderful. The glue is just hot enough to manipulate, but not so hard you burn. You can still burn yourself, guys. You have to be careful, but not so bad. Pull that up. That stays up here. Use that wire in that garland to manipulate it. Let's cut this one into 2 sections. I don't have a bow planned for this one, but if you wanted to do a bow, you certainly could. Definitely leave a spot for a bow. Be totally fine. Here, oh my gosh, so pretty. I'm gonna put some glue there. I'm gonna put a little bit of moss to hold that one. Nice. Nice, nice. Okay, then our final piece is going right here. I'm gonna have a little bit of a holes slightly, but I'll start the next one there to go on the inside. So pick a side you want to go closer to. I think I'm going to go right here. And I got my glue, pushing it in. Okay, so now we're going to have a run around with another layer in the middle. And I think we could start it here and it'll be fine, but let's measure. We can always bring it more to the center. We've done a great job on the perimeter. So this is all I've got left. So you got to kind of space it out. Like if I start here, can we make it in the middle? We can, oh my God, so pretty. We can, I think we can. So let's just take, let me do the same technique of cutting it. I think that works better. Let's just cut this into little sections so we can kind of plan it out. It's kind of like that into little sections here. Let's see how it has a little gap there. We'll cut that one and we'll leave that. Here's all the sections. We have 3. Well, let's take this little gapper piece, put it right here. And don't freak out too much if you have a little bit of a hole because we can fill it in when we layer the next piece on. Oh my gosh, so pretty, guys. Okay, push that back just a little bit. Now we're gonna work inside here. So we have 3 of these. So if you will use the concept, if I put these kind of a little bit here, and a little bit here, and then a little bit here, there may be a couple of little holes, but you're not going to notice them, okay? So let's start with this one up in that front. I just think this is fun because it goes to the really solid white in the middle and more wispy on the sides. Okay, push it in. Use that wire. There you go. Now scrunch that, oh, that's cute, together. So we kind of working on this line as we go to the next level. Okay, great. Now our next piece is going to go in here. Pull those blooms up, manipulate that wire, and we're going right here. Okay? It's the same thing. Just pull the blooms out of your way. Remember how I said a little bit of a triangle shape. So you get, basically it's helping you get a good coverage, even when you don't have exactly enough to get all the way around. Okay, let's go. So we went 1 there, 1 here, and now, oh my God, then our 3rd one's going here. This looks good. All right, now cutting it into the smaller pieces did give us a lot more control. So I'm gonna definitely recommend that rather than spinning it around like I thought we would do. I think that worked better. And then just push this in. Now you got a couple of little sections that maybe have a little bit less, like even going out to the perimeter, and you don't worry about that right now because what we're about to do is, see like here, I'm gonna crisscross these blooms a little. They separate a little, just crisscross. It'll keep them where they look like they've grown together. Don't go crazy. You see how that works? Aha, so pretty. Now, she's looking amazing. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and I'm gonna gently pull up any of these other gypsos that we have going to the perimeter. And we still have a few extra. So what you want to do is find a hole. See, there's like a little hole here. So take, and you could even cut the pieces you have left into smaller pieces to get good coverage. Okay? Now come on in there. Come on in there. Just pop that. Oh, how pretty. Right there. Beautiful. So work my way around the perimeter again. And I'll take these little half pieces and put them tight to my other's baby spread. Oh, that was so good. All right, let's keep doing that. Then our last touch after this is we're going to add the a little bit more of the greenery. So keep this to the center. This stays in the center because the greenery holes that we're going to come around and fill are going to be on the outside. Okay, so you got to make sure you keep this in the middle. One more piece here. I'm going to separate. So hold a little bit of that off because you are going to have a couple of little gaps when you work with the garland. So not only can this be for a wedding, guys, but you can use this same recipe for different seasons and just play with it because it's so pretty. This one right here. Just remember, once you start that traffic flow, the direction, you stick with it. Take a look and look beyond the surface and don't look at all the pretty white. Look at the green in the background and look for holes. We've got about 6 or 8 pieces left of this and we're going to go in behind. Remember, this goes behind, not the foreground. And we're just going to keep watching that shape. And you're going to help kind of full up and finish out the shape. If it's a little bit overwhelming to look at the whole thing, just look at one section at a time. I'm going to go around. I see a little bit of a hole on this side. Fill that in. So I'm looking at the perimeter. And you might want to go hang it up and just kind of be like, okay, this is so full and lush. I cannot wait to take pictures of this. This is right exactly what the brides are wanting in their weddings right now. So I'm sure it would go so quick for that. But this is just a stunning, beautiful wreath and a gorgeous recipe you can use anytime, y'all. Okay, you're going to have to share it with me when you try yours. You want to try out this swag with us? It's our latest kit. It's luscious and beautiful, and I can show you how. Welcome, I'm Kali. I'm very excited to meet you and have you here to our page. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow no matter what social media you're on, because that's how you get to see us again. If you've been stalking our page and be like, I want to get started with this, but I'm a little intimidated. It seems like I need a lot. Well, I'm here to tell you you don't. I've got the greatest introductory kit for you to try out for a basic swag that you can make for your own door. It's going to be a lot easier than you think. And it's a kit you can order, so it's one click and buy, and you're not running around to 10 stores to get what you need. If you saw this magnolia and it intrigued you, you might be from the South, or you just might love magnolias like we do. Look how gorgeous. Isn't it beautiful? When I saw these very real looking magnolias, had to have them. And I thought, let's design an easy kit for beginners. So it's just a little bit simple to get a finished look, and then you can kind of dabble in more if you want to. So this is our swag kit, and it is going to make a door swag, and I'm also going to teach you how to make the bow that goes on it and take you step by step through the project. So you're going to get one of these big magnolias, and then the nice thing with this is the swag comes pre-made, so you don't have to learn how to build this right now. It's going to come this way. So that saves you time if you're a busy mama or you've got a lot going on and you just want to create something but keep it simple. So this is the base that it comes with. And then you have the individual stem. And then here is our 4-inch ribbon. You're going to get the whole row. You don't need the whole roll, but you're going to have extra to do other things with and create stuff in your home, because I know you're going to be hooked after you try this. All right, so once you've gotten the kit, you'll get the roll of ribbon, you'll get the magnolia stem and the magnolia base here. The first thing you're going to have to do is take a little time on the magnolia base. It's beautifully constructed. You're just going to take and spread it out a little, and that just takes a few seconds, and not even a minute. But you're going to pull these blooms up just a little bit and have them poke up. In design school, we always have to do what we call shaking hands of our pieces. So I try to carry pieces that have nice wires. They're basically made to be manipulated, right? So they're strong and they have a nice strong wire, and that does cost a little more. So that's why I like to find you pieces that are cost effective but are also, you know, they've got all the motion and movement in there. So you see, once I've taken that swag and really worked with it, how beautiful it is. Now it's pretty like this. We're going to be using them hanging in this direction. So we want to make sure that bloom's sitting up pretty, and we've got a little space here for our bow. And I'm going to use this bloom up above where the bow is going to be. So lay it on your table, and let me make sure you guys can see everything we're doing here. So I've got it on my table right here, and then I'm going to decide how much space I want to have between the bloom at the top and the bow, okay? And that just kind of depends. I'm leaving about 4 fingers right in there because I just want to be able to put the bow in there. Now, we made the bow on a different video, but don't worry, we'll link that here so you can see how to make the bow. And by the magic of, there's the bow. So we'll be putting the bow right in the center. Now, we constructed this in such a classic way. It works for every season. So this is kind of a non-seasonal piece, and it works great in between the holidays. So it's going to go right in here too, and I'm going to lay it right in that open zone. Oh my gosh, you see how pretty it is already? We haven't even done anything but laid up a few flowers and put the bow in the middle. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm going to show you the construction methods on the next part in just a second so you can see how we're going to tie it together. But that's the gist of how we're laying it out. So we'll zoom in and I'll show you how to tie it together. So here's my swag, kind of how we've laid it out, but we actually have to construct it and put it together now. So pull the bow off for just a second. And what we're going to do is I'm going to just gently flip it over because we already know the space we've allotted in there. And you will see that this is going to already have a hanger on it, which works perfectly. And this stem can just run along the back. Now, you can put it on the right or the left or however you want. We're going to leave this as our hanger and start to kind of tie that on there. Now, the only thing that doesn't come in the kit is like cable ties to make your bow, or the cable ties to attach it here. So you'll need some wires, whatever you need. You can use like small wires. I like to use cable ties because they can get so tight. Now, I'm not even going to need a cutter on this. We're going to keep it super easy. I'm not even going to trim that stem. I'm literally just going to come in and we're going to tie it on with a cable tie here. So I've left the tails long right now so you can kind of see what we're doing. But then we will take and we will cut those off. So I'm thinking about 3 ties along the back is plenty. Trim these off. That's 2. And this leaf, we want to turn it around if we can because we want it facing the front. We don't want to have it backwards. And then number 3 can run right here in the middle. And you can get clear table ties. If your store doesn't have brown ones, that's fine. These are just usually found in the electrical department. And just slide that little nub to the side. We don't want to scratch anything. So once we do that, it's all secured. And our florals are where we want them. And we can manipulate it more. We've got that basic structure. We left room, what we call our bow zone. So what I want you to do now is kind of turn that, and we're going to go ahead and add in the bow. So if you need that link to the bow, just ask in the comments. It's also always going to be linked in the supply list, guys, on every project we do. Now I want to bring the bow right in here to that zone we left open. And I'm going to tie that with the cable tie on just kind of right at the bottom of the hanger. Isn't that pretty? And what I want you to do is manipulate the tails and bring them down and around. I like the long tail in the back because I think that is beautiful. Let me show you a little bit more. There you go. You see it? So pretty. Long tail in the back, the short tail kind of in the front here. And you'll see the finished pictures when we hang it up, but this is easy peasy and beautiful, and I know you can make it too. So come try our latest and great beginner kit to start off because it's classic and beautiful. I bet you can make that. I know you can. All right, Bloomerinos, I'll see you next time. Go have fun with flowers. Can you believe we're gonna make a swag like this in under 10 minutes? All right, let's make it together. Hey, Bloomerinos, we're getting ready to make our newest kit. And this time we're gonna make a really neat swag. The swag base this time is a really super full bush, and it's got a nice sturdy base. So we actually, instead of using this as a long grass bush or a tree, this way, we're going to turn it over and make it a swag this way, which makes it really full and lush when we get ready to create this design. In this kit, you're going to get a couple of bushes of these beautiful, they are a hydrangea leaf with berry bush. That's going to go great with our grasses. You're going to get a couple of these. And then you're going to get 2 rolls of ribbon to do your bow also. So it's loaded with fun. You can use this any way you want, but we're going to show you how to make a swag with it. So starting with our base, I want you to think about your bow and how much space the bow is going to take up. And I'm going to have the bow right in this area, kind of in this general area. But I want a little of this greenery kind of going upward. So take a few of these stems, like a nice little cluster, and just shift it upward. It's that simple. Just shift it upward. Take a few on this other side and shift it upward, okay? Now we've kind of got a little bit of that greenery at the top, which I love that. Now what I want you to do is flip it over and make this into a simple little hanger just by giving it a twist and giving it a loop. Okay, now you have a hanger and you have your greenery going upward. And we're gonna be able to secure that a little bit more going upward with the cable tie in a little bit when we put the bow on, but we don't need to mess with it quite yet. Okay, we're gonna use a full bush at the top. This is just an easy way to do this. Now you're going to shake hands with this to kind of make sure everybody has their own space. You want to really, want to utilize all this beautiful wired greenery and berries. Now I'm going to do the same thing I just did on that swag. And we're going to bring some leaves down. We're going to bring a little berry down, especially this little dangly berry because I love that one dangling. So bring that down, another leaf down. And so the idea is this part will kind of work out of the bow, and this part up here will work above the bow. So right where we just made that other little area, you're going to set that right in. And remember, I told you, don't worry, we're going to cable tie that in. We're going to put that all in. Now today, you could use wires if you wanted. I'm using cable ties. They're my favorite, and I'm using white so it kind of camouflages in there. And I'm going to take all that good stuff right here we just talked about, and we're going to tie that in really tight, okay? So get it going, and oh, it slid down a little, slide it back up. Dang it, I'm gonna have to put another one. I wanted to hold those top pieces a little better. It's okay. We've got plenty of them. I'm gonna go a little higher. Let's go a little bit higher here so we can hold that all clustered. All right. The bow is gonna be right here, so you're not gonna see any of this. Don't fret. And if you are worried about it slipping once you get it on, I want you to just take your wire cutters like this and pull it a little tighter, and then you can always tack a little glue right there, and we'll do that in just a second. So we squeeze it pretty tight, like we put a girdle on this puppy. We squeezed it in. It's like a can of busted biscuits right now. It's busting out of there, but I want you to fluff all that because that's really important. Now you're going to still use all those wires that I talked about, and you're going to utilize them to spread all this out. There you go. And really be deliberate. You know how I feel about the backs of leaves. Flip those around. We want to try to see the fronts if we can. Okay. And this was the pretty part I talked about coming out of the bottom of the bow. And yes, that'll work just fine right there. Okay, right in the center. And we'll play with that a little bit more when we get our bow on in a minute. Because I want to make this nice and lush and full as we go down. We're going to take our next bush. It's the same bush again. We're going to get 2 of these bushes this way. This is like a really lush, beautiful long swag. I mean, it's super high quality, and I think you're going to love that. Now, I want to take a section of this and just pull it up. This is a great beginner project because you can learn how to manipulate these pieces. Or, you know what, if you just like this look, you can make the swag really simple, and you can use some of these other pieces somewhere else in your home. Okay, so I'm going to tuck this up in here, and you see how I made it nice and full? I was tucking it in, it was already good. Layered it and tucked it. Now grab your other cable tie, and we're going to attach that heavy duty wire that's right here to the base wire. If I kind of do that here in the back, you will not see it. I'm going to go under all these berries. I love this swag base because it's got the greatest berries in there. Alright, doing that, I'm going to cut off the excess stem here so we don't have to worry about that. And we talked about putting a little glue on there earlier, so I'm going to pull out my glue skillet here. And this just will keep the stuff from sliding around. I'm just going to take and put a little glue here. I'm going to tuck this little, you know, the pointy part, like the little chunky part of the cable tie. I'm going to take that in, just like that. And then I'm going to take and just put a little greenery right over it. You never stop it. Up here, the bow will be, so you'll be good. There's your little hanger. So I'm just going to tuck a little bit on there. All right, glued in, ready to go. So easy. You're following so far. I know you can do this. Now I'm going to turn it back around. These swags are some of my favorite pieces to put in my Etsy store, to make for gifts. They make great things to make with a group because they're very simple, but it's very elegant when you get done. All right, next step, that bow. And if you need to know how to make the bow, we'll have the link for you on the supply list for this particular project, or you can ask here in the comments and we'll get you the link for the bow. But we already have it made, so I'm gonna magically bring that over and we're gonna put her in. She's a big, gorgeous bow. You can see how pretty she is. And she's gonna go right here into that zone we left. So we're gonna go ahead and tie her on there right now, right here at the top. And then we aren't gonna be quite done after this. We're gonna have to get the tails in, and then I wanna do a little detail work. It's all about the details, the depth, the dimension, and the direction. All that matters. I'm gonna trim that off. If you asked us in school, that's all. Chloe is not playing when it comes to the detail. I'm gonna bring this down in the back. This long tail on this side. Now take this one on this side and come to the inside. So the big long tails, they're partying at the back, right? Party on, dudes. Okay, they're in. Now, I'm gonna come to the front where we have our regular neutral ribbons, and these are partying in the front. And the reason we chose that is because we want the 4 inches to be, you know, kind of a foundation piece. And you see how pretty it's coming? Yeah. And you're gonna fluff these out. And when you see the finished images, or you might have seen them before you came to this video, you're gonna see how important that is. But isn't that beautiful? Now, you'll notice we have kind of like a little zone in here that's a little empty. So we're gonna go steal a few pieces from down here and work in that middle zone. So I'm gonna start with like this one right here is like a big old hydrangea leaf stem. We're gonna take it out. I love that one. That's a really pretty one. And then let's swipe a little bit of this dangly berry, always my favorite. Let's take a little of that one. And let's take one really big leaf. Which side do we want to take it from? How about we just take it from this one right here? So we literally just stole 3 pieces out of there, is all we did. And we're gonna work them into this middle zone right here. So just pull that ribbon apart. And we're gonna just glue these in very nicely into all this beautiful berry grass, because you're never going to know it's there, because this just hides everything so good. So we're gonna take our first leaf. I'm gonna dip it into the glue pot, get a little glue on it, and we're gonna go right here in the middle. Perfect. And we already have these fun pieces going here. And let's layer some grass kind of over that leaf so it blends in nicely. And then this little ivy leaf I'm going to take out too, because that'll go good right here. Hold that off to the side. Okay, let's get this flat piece. We'll put it kind of in the middle. We get a lot of glue on it. And tuck it right in there. Perfect. Now my dangly berry right down the center. So basically you just go in there, you steal a couple of these other pieces, then you push the grass around to hide the glue and some leaves. And now it looks like a really full, loaded, beautiful loaded. I'm gonna go by the bow with this one too, and just glue that to the back of the bow. Beautiful loaded design. And we're gonna do a little more detail work around the bow, because I wanna add a little bit more in there to break the plane of it. So let's grab these berries and tuck those in here. Yes. Look at that. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous, guys? I think it's stunning. I love it, y'all. Oh my gosh. But wait till you see how pretty these tails look going down your there. All right, Blue, you've got to try a swag like this. You'll be shocked how fun it is and how quickly it will come together. All right, I will see you next time. You guys go have fun with flowers. Bye, everybody.